For the final time in the regular season, the Firebirds will take the field here at Eldredge Park. They take on the Chatham A's tonight, looking to clinch the East Division with a win. Ian Nicholas, Dylan Pescatore here on the Birds Broadcast Network. Ian, a big win yesterday against YD in a matchup between number 1 and number 2 in the East. Now those spots are flipped.
Yeah, they are. Now the pressure is on YD to win on the road against Wareham. Not an easy place to play, but who cares about that? The focus is here at Eldredge. Win, and you're into that number 1 spot for the first time since 2017. But you're facing a Chatham team that is not going to roll over. In fact, over the last week, they've been eliminated from playoff contention, Dylan. They have not rolled over. They've won 4 of their last 5, and they've helped you out a lot. They beat YD in Harwich over the last few days to put you in this position. Now you have to get them, and it's not going to be easy.
No, it's not. And the Firebirds have a lot of arms they have to go through today. They want to keep some of their big arms rested, but also win tonight's game so they can win the East. Evan Truitt gets the start. You're going to see a lot of arms as well. To the pitching side, what pitching arm are you excited to see out of the bullpen to really make a case for themselves going into the playoffs?
Well, there's going to be a lot of different options today. I think 2 guys to keep an eye out for, Chase Loomis and Sam Waboki, right? Sam Waboki's had opportunities both out of a bullpen this summer and starting as of late. I think he could be a high-leverage guy for you in the playoffs. He was one of the best relievers in the SEC from Vanderbilt, and he's got a really good sweeping slider that if he can have it on his A game tonight, he can give you maybe 2 or 3 innings out of a bullpen. We'll see. Chase Loomis, meanwhile, a little bit of a rocky start to this summer after coming off his season at Texas, but he's been really good as of late. I think both of those guys have a case for legitimate high upside, high leverage spots out of a bullpen in the playoffs. And in a must-win game today, both of them have to show out.
Playoffs start Friday. We go from the pitching side to the offensive side. This offense has scored 10-plus runs in 5 of the last 7. They might need it again tonight because Chatham has been putting runs up on the board as of late.
They have. They have 2 bats in Derek Fabian and Caden Kent who are playing their best baseball and hitting the ball hard right now. I mean, Caden Kent specifically, the all-star this summer for Chatham, one of 3 on the year, was 4 for 4 last night in a win against Brewster. You cannot have him have another performance like that today. For Orleans, you have a lineup that's as hot as it's been, right? You have Matt Hallback coming off a sensational game. Eddie Micheletti with a couple big doubles. His power is starting to peak at the right time. Somebody's performance who I was really a big fan of yesterday and probably gets a little bit overshadowed. We'll talk to him later here on the Scorching Start. Henry Hunter reached base all 5 times, walked 4 times. He was as patient as can be, and that's the key for Orleans tonight. If Chatham is going to throw it outside the zone, do not bite for it. Take your free passes.
9 free passes from the YD pitching staff yesterday, an 11-run performance from the Firebirds offense. We go to our sideline reporter, Sammy Miller.
The key concept last night for the Firebirds to get the win and take over the number 1 spot in the East was all about energy. Firebirds mental performance coach Jay Banfield has been emphasizing energy as of late with this team and tells them that energy is a choice, and if you're not choosing to have that high energy throughout the whole game, you're only cheating yourself. I spoke with Eddie Micheletti after the game, and he said how proud he was of the team, how they had that high energy from the first pitch up until the very last pitch. And he said that he is so proud of where his team is today and that they are excited for this run to keep going because playoffs are just around the corner. And some teams across this league are starting to tune out and not care as much. Well, that's the opposite here in Orleans. This team is dialed in, and they are ready to bring back the championship title for the first time since 2005. Guys, back to you.
Thank you, Sammy. The Firebirds have had a lot of energy with 4 straight wins. They look for number 5 against Chatham tonight. 6:30 first pitch.
The Orleans Firebirds. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, please rise and remove your caps for the singing of the national anthem. Tonight's singer is Gail Spink. Gail is a year-round resident of Orleans and has been singing in church since age 7. She received her music degree in voice from the University of Connecticut in 1984. She started singing the national anthem for the Greensboro indoor football and hockey teams in North Carolina, and she is honored to sing today for the Firebirds and their fans.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars
Here for game number 44, the last regular season game and the biggest one for the Firebirds, who are a win away from clinching the East Division for the first time since 2017. They take on the Chatham Anglers tonight, the bottom team in the East Division. Here in the CCBL, they send out Evan Truitt to the mound. The Firebirds do in a big night tonight on a gorgeous night from Eldredge Park.
Oh, it's a wonderful night. 72 degrees and sunny. That says the Apple Watch, which has been our official gauge for the weather all summer long. The hill is packed, and it's because the town of Orleans has been waiting for a day like this. Since 2017, baseball has been, really important to this town. And when it comes down to the end of the season, to be perfectly honest, the conversation hasn't been over the last half a decade, can Orleans be the best team in the East Division? It's been, is Orleans in the playoff or not? But this team, this group, it's a special one. And right now they have an opportunity to do one last special thing this regular season, control their own destiny, and steal first place from YD.
A win today clinches that East Division for the Firebirds, who send out Evan Truitt to the mound, the right-handed hurler out of Charleston Southern. He's been here since day one. Truitt has. He gets to finish off the regular season with his final start and his 8th start of the summer. In 28 innings, he is pitched to a 4.76 ERA. His last start was right here against the Chatham Anglers in Game 2 of that doubleheader. 3 innings pitched, 2 runs, a strikeout, and a walk on 6 hits. He'll face an Anglers team that, in the record, doesn't say a lot about what they've been doing in the last week.
What they've been doing in the last week is helping out Orleans, defeating Harwich on Sunday to solidify Orleans' spot at number 2 in the East. And then on Monday, upsetting Yarmouth Dennis to set up yesterday's big clash from Red Wilson Field that Orleans won.
Truitt's first pitch is high and away to the Anglers' leadoff man, the lefty Brennan Holt, who actually led off against the Firebirds last Friday. That was in the doubleheader. He started a resumption of a game. I'll tell you exactly what that means. As it's popped down the left field line, left fielder Tough looks at it, but he runs out of room. Holt was the batter when the game resumed after it was suspended by fog earlier in the season on July 5th. He had to come into a 3-2 count with 2 outs and 2 on. Holt took strike 3 against Grayson Carter to end that at bat. 1-1 from the righty Truitt is up the middle, but right at Eddie King. 3 pitches, 1 out here in the first for Truitt.
Yeah, it was a weird game for Orleans. Ultimately won that they won 8-7. It was tight at the start, tight at the finish. 23 games in between.
We'll go through the defensive alignment for Chatham after this first pitch to Tyler Wolfert, the righty out of Oklahoma State. Just coming off his 6th game, 5 with hits. That streak was spoiled last night in a big 7-4 win against the Brewster Whitecaps. The Chatham Anglers, whose record read 13-27-2, have won 4 of their last 5. A 1 swing and a miss on a slider high in the zone.
Give a lot of credit to interim manager Todd Shelton. He's been the 3rd different man at the helm of the Anglers this season, and although they've been eliminated from playoff contention in all 4 of their last wins, it's been a resilient group that is not quitting here in game number 44. They want to play spoiler.
This is the Firebirds team that, with the win, will get that East Division crown. 1-2. Ground ball foul down the third base line. At third is Brandon Stallman. At shortstop, Jack Penny. At second is Joe Oyama. And at first is Matt Hallback. In the outfield for the Firebirds, Colin Tufton left, Eddie King Jr. in center, and in right is Fenwick Trimble, with Owen Carpellotti doing the catching for Evan Truitt. Up 1-2 in the count against Wolfert. Fastball, swing, and a miss. The high heater gets Wolfert to go around for out number 2.
Evan Truitt has seen a lot of Chatham as of late. 3 of his last 5 appearances against the A's. The lineup that's seen a lot of turnover in that time, but looking comfortable here today in a big situation.
He'll face the lefty Caden Kent, who has been on fire, to say the least. 4 hits last night. Swinging first pitch, a deep drive into center, but nothing Eddie King can't handle. He makes the catch, and Evan Truitt on just 9 pitches works through a 1-2-3 first inning here from Orleans. It's time for the Firebirds to come to bat in the bottom of the first. Back here from Orleans, bottom of the first, still a scoreless game between Chatham and the Firebirds. And this is a lineup for Orleans that has scored 10-plus runs in 5 of the last 7. And who's in the starting 9 today?
Well, it all starts with Joe Oyama, who just before the game was named the Orleans Firebirds team MVP. Congratulations to Joe. He's had a sensational season. Benwick Trimble batting second for the second time this season. Jack Penny bats third. Matt Hallback bats fourth. A pair of all-stars coming off big games yesterday. Eddie Micheletti batting fifth. Eddie King Jr. bats sixth. Brandon Stallman, Owen Carpellotti, and Colin Tuff to round out the nine-man order for Kelly Nicholson.
That's the starting 9 for the Firebirds, facing a pitcher they've seen a few times. Actually, the third time they've seen Max Yale, the Chatham starting pitcher. Tonight, out of West Virginia, the rising sophomore, in 2 appearances against the Firebirds, has been pretty good. 7 innings thrown, 4 runs given up on 13 hits, and struck out 8. This summer, a 9th appearance, 21 innings pitched, his second start, and has pitched to a 3.86 ERA, one of the better pitchers on this Anglers roster.
It's an Anglers pitching staff that has struggled on a year, the worst ERA in the league, but Yale has had Orleans' number. And in Orleans' last loss, right, the Birds have won 6 of the last 7. That one loss wedged in between, Yale was on the mound in the second leg of a doubleheader on July 21st. Went 3 1/3, only gave up a run. And the great thing that I saw, he worked through traffic. He gave up a season-high 6 hits. It didn't matter. He struck out 3, didn't walk anybody, and was able to help his team pick up a 7-inning win.
He'll face Oyama, who leads off from the left side. A big 11-4 win for the Firebirds yesterday against the then first place YD Red Sox. With the win, the Firebirds took over the first spot and now lead by 1 point going into today. First pitch, Oyama swings, pops it up left side. Looking at Forsythe, the third baseman. He can't find it. We'll do the defensive alignment for Chatham. From left to right in the outfield, Caden Kent, Zach McDonald, and Tyler Wolfert. Forsythe at third, Fabian at short, Holt at second, Will Hoyt at first, and Jaden Melendez does the catching for Max Yale. Up 0-1 against Oyama. The pitch from the lefty is high.
Oyama, I don't want to say he's been in a bit of a skid, but 1 for his last 9. Not usually someone who strikes out often. 4 strikeouts in the last 2 games for Oyama. Trying to settle it back in the final game of the regular season.
The 1-1 from the lefty is pop-up foul. Third base side on to Route 28. Joe Oyama has driven this offense the entire summer, but in the last 2-3 games where Oyama really hasn't had his best stuff, the others in the lineup have picked it up. 1-2, almost gets a piece of Oyama on a fastball inside.
Couldn't agree more. I think yesterday was one of the most brilliant offensive displays Orleans has shown all year. And Oyama was just 1 for 6. He didn't drive in a run. The middle of this order has come alive. Matt Hallback and Eddie Micheletti were the engine of yesterday's win.
2-2, just high, count, runs full. Yale, who just finished his first year at West Virginia, which will be the new home of former Firebird Derek Clark, officially released today, and will be heading to Morgantown in a couple of days. A full count hits Oyama. He'll take first as he jogs gingerly, seems to be all right. But a hit by pitch to start this game by Max Yale puts Oyama on first.
Orleans benefited from a lot of free passes in yesterday's first inning in the win against the Red Sox. 4 straight walks handed out by YD starter Braden Montgomery. 2 bases loaded walks, which made it 3-0 Orleans after half a frame. I'm not saying it's going to get that out of hand for Max Yale, but what I am saying is the Firebirds have no problem drawing out at bats, taking free passes, and passing the baton.
I'd love to see the number on how many full count at bats they had last night, whether it be against Montgomery or they faced Landon Beidelshees, who's one of the best relievers on that YD roster. Connor O'Hara came in as well. YD had a tough time pitching yesterday. The 1-0 is in there for a strike to Fenwick Trimble.
The best pitching staff in the league. Sorry to step on you there, but that was really impressive.
YD, whose offense has got a little bit into a lull, but their pitching has always been really good. Orleans didn't make it look good yesterday. Trimble up the middle, backhanded by Holt to second for 1. The out recorded. A fielder's choice as Trimble reaches first, and the first out is Joe Oyama. He'll head back to the dugout.
Jack Penny, 2 hits yesterday, an all-star. Also a recipient, another one of the team awards Orleans handed out before the game. The Wakefield Mass native has been everything for this Firebirds team, batting third.
Lefty Yale deals a curveball in for a strike. And we mentioned the Firebirds have seen Yale twice before today and another, of course, tonight. How can that give an advantage to the Orleans lineup?
Well, it gives an advantage to this Orleans lineup because there's so much continuity. You know, you look at Chatham's lineup. This is a team Orleans played not even a week ago, and there's 2 or 3 new names. Meanwhile, for Orleans, every single player that saw this Chatham team when he last pitched and the time even before that was on the team.
1-1. Did Penny go around? See if they do a check. They do. He did not. Count 2-1 with Trimble on first after the fielder's choice. The Birds seeing Yale 3 times this summer. Scheduling, it works that way. Trimble goes. Yale picks off, and it goes out of the glove of Will Hoyt. Trimble will take second as the pickoff throw from Yale went in and out of the glove of the first baseman, Will Hoyt. And the Firebirds have a runner in scoring position.
Another thing that also helps in that equation of how do you attack Max Yale. You know, I know he only finished up his freshman year at West Virginia, but he was a reliever, not a starter. Not necessarily used to seeing the order not once, not twice, but 3 times. And Orleans probably knows that.
That'll go down as a stolen base for Trimble as he was off and running even before Kent picked off. He's at second. 3-1 the count to Penny. Pitch is fouled back.
Trimble, sneaky good speed. Now 4 for 4 on stolen base attempts this year.
We'll also be keeping tabs on YD's game. They are playing the Wareham Gatemen tonight. And seeing if they lose, the Firebirds clinch the East no matter what happens here. The full count pitch to Penny is high. He'll walk, and another full count at bat from the Firebirds. Trimble on second. On first is Penny, and up comes Matt Hallback, who had maybe his best day of the summer yesterday. 4 hits, along with an RBI and 5 at-bats. He's been really hot over the past week or so. In his last 8 games, 4 hits, or check that, 8 hits, 8 runs, and 6 RBIs. Ian, what does he bring to this order?
Everything. You know, he was already hitting the ball well before the All-Star break, but it seems like he's turned it up another notch since the All-Star break, which I know for Orleans was only 1 day, but hitting .420 since the All-Star game festivities. What Hallback brings is really good plate discipline. Does not expand his zone. Puts good wood on a lot of balls into the outfield and has found some power over these last few games with 3 home runs in his last 10 days. If that swing from Hallback can continue to drive pitches deep into left field, that would be special.
He's up 1-0 in the count after the mound visit by Melendez, the catcher. Pitch is popped up foul, first base side. Speaking of special, Another huge crowd here at Eldredge Park, hoping to see an East Division crown clinched here tonight.
Chatham has played Orleans tough all year long. Orleans trails the season series 3-2.
Orleans looking for the win today, not only even that, but also to clinch number 1. The 1-1 pitch to Hallback, lined up the middle into center field as it drops in front of the center fielder McDonald. Everyone moves up a station. Bases loaded for the Firebirds with only 1 out here in the first.
And here comes Eddie Micheletti, who had 2 doubles yesterday and is top 10 in the league in doubles on the summer. He's been one of the most clutch hitters for the Firebirds. A situation Orleans struggled with early in the year, bases loaded, but over the last week they've driven so many runners home, and that's why they've scored double-digit runs almost routinely.
In 5 of the last 7, reaching double digits. First pitch to Micheletti is low for ball 1. 2 doubles last night, like you said, 3 RBIs for Micheletti. Almost a home run. Left on left. 0-1. Ground ball right in front of the plate. Yale's going to glove flip to Melendez for the first out. Did not get the chance to throw to first as Micheletti was hustling down the line. A good play by Yale to record out number 2. Bases still loaded.
You'll take that all day if you're Chatham. Good play from Yale. A big athlete getting off a mound, confidently flipping it to Melendez at the dish. But it's not that easy. You got to face Eddie King Jr., who has also been, alongside Matt Hallback, one of the hottest batters in this Orleans order.
Trimble forced out at the plate. King takes outside from Yale, whose pitch count is already over 20. A Chatham bullpen, a Chatham rotation that is not very deep. Orleans, who has added a lot of pitching over the past few days to their roster, expecting to use a lot of it tonight. The 1-0 in there for a strike to Eddie King, who's also been hot over the past week and a half. In his last 8 games, hits in 7 of them. 1-0 slider that's fouled back. One that was left over the middle of the plate.
That's a pitch that Eddie King has been seeing really well over the last 10 days or so. Driving the ball to all parts of the field, displaying great power, and a great athlete too.
Yeah, 1 pitch away. The 1-2, a ground ball into the hole. Fabian scoops it, throws it across his body, and gets the out. Max Yale escapes. Bases loaded, and 1 out, keeping the Firebirds off the board in the first. We'll go to the second, still scoreless here on the Birds Broadcast Network.
And fans, make sure that you participate in tonight's 50-50 raffle. You can buy tickets at the table behind the home dugout, or see Tom, Bonnie, or Lisa, who will be coming around through the crowd. Tickets are 1 for $1, 5 for $2, 20 for $5, or 60 for $10. On Monday night, we came really close to hitting $1,000 given away, and I think we will definitely make it tonight. So come on down and buy some tickets. Buy early, buy often. A red ticket will win tonight. Your attention, please. Now pitching for the Firebird from Charleston Southern University, number 22, Joel Rodriguez.
They won't come.
Back here on the Birds Broadcast Network at Eldredge Park, the Firebirds and Anglers still scoreless as we go to the top of the second. Evan Truitt's day is done. Just one inning as they get him ready to go for the playoffs that start on Friday night. Right here from Eldredge Park, 6:30 as usual. Just not sure who the Firebirds will be playing yet until this game is over. Joel Rodriguez is the new pitcher for the Firebirds, Ian. It's his first time on the mound for these Birds.
It is a JUCO guy who's committed to play at Charleston Southern, and he will be teammates with Evan Truitt next year. Spent the early part of his summer with the Keene Swamp Bats of the NECBL.
Joel will be a rising junior heading to Charleston Southern, and his key pitch is his curveball to righties and lefties. He fires a first pitch strike to Trace Wilhoit out of Lipscomb. 0-1 is pulled foul, 0-2. A lot of new arms coming in for the Firebirds at the last moment before the roster is locked for the playoffs. Ian, what can a guy like Rodriguez or other arms for the Firebirds bring to this bullpen?
Well, if you have a signature pitch, as you mentioned, that curveball that plays to both sides of a plate, there it is. Unfortunately, a little bit out of control there. It just brings a lot of setup options potentially for your heavy hitters, right? Because you're always in a close game trying to get the ball into Sean Matson's hand, but you can't always have Sean Matson. You need other reliable options as well to get you to the 8th and 9th.
0-2 is outside. That 0-2 Primero first 0-2 pitch, I should say, was off the bat of Wilhoit, a foul ball. Now we're at 1-2. Fastball swing and a miss. Rodriguez, first batter up for the Firebirds, and his first strikeout here in Orleans.
Had a really good summer, early start to his summer with Keene in the NECBL. An ERA of 3.33, primarily out of a bullpen, 10 appearances, 3 starts, 24 innings pitched. That's a good league, the NECBL. It's not the Cape, but it's probably a notch or two below, and there's really good competition there.
Up comes Kyson Donahue out of Hawaii. He swings and misses at that curveball. For strike one, Donahue from Hawaii goes to University of Hawaii. He'll be a rising senior there in the fall, the lefty DH for Chatham tonight.
Spent the first 3 years of his collegiate career at Arizona before going back home, playing with the Rainbow Warriors. And he was really good the last time these two teams played, right? 3 hits, and all of them were for extra bases. He had 3 extra base hits, headed into that game. He likes playing against Orleans.
1-1 is in there for a strike at the bottom of the zone. Also 2 home runs of those 3 extra base hits, one of them being a double. And they weren't homers that just snuck over the wall. They cleared it by a good amount at Veterans Field. 1-2, swing and a miss. Another curveball that gets a whiff. Out number 2 here in the second.
It's going to be a bullpen day for Orleans, and who knows how long Rodriguez is going to pitch, but this curveball is going to be hard to track down for these Chatham bats. Such a different look compared to Evan Truitt. It's going to be tough to adjust, depending on how many different arms Orleans uses. It's a really good pitch right now.
Lane Forsyth, the right-handed batter, swing and miss at the slider. Rodriguez looks as good as it can get here in his first outing with Orleans. Forsyth out of Mississippi State. Strike at the bottom of the zone with the fastball. A second-year CCBLer. Was over at Bourne last year. Now here in Chatham. His season will end tonight. Win or loss. 0-2 from Rodriguez. No chase from Forsyth on the curveball. Like Ian said, Rodriguez has pitched this summer with Keene. He had great numbers in the NECBL. Now looking to help out the Firebirds at the end of the season. A 1-2 ground ball to shortstop. Penny throws it across for the out. A really impressive 1-2-3 inning for Joel Rodriguez, including 2 strikeouts and keeping Chatham off the board. 0-0 as we go to the bottom of the second.
What Cape home design will you dream up? For over 16 years, Cape Dreams Building and Design has specialized in building custom homes for clients across Cape Cod. Our core values of honesty, integrity, and quality work are what separates us from other Cape builders and help us make your dreams of your next new home a reality. From new construction to additions and renovations, contact Cape Dreams today or visit our website at capedreamsbd.com.
Free because of the generous advertisements that you'll see throughout the book. 99 Pub is proud sponsor of the Cape Football League. To your local and try their awesome lobster, high on grilled brioche, hot buttered, or with just the right amount of mayo and celery with fries and coleslaw. The 99 always a good deal. Cape Cod 5 is proud to be a long-standing supporter of the Cape Cod Baseball League and its contribution to the local economy as a treasured summer attraction. Cape Cod 5 is a community bank serving customers throughout Cape Cod, the islands, and southeastern Massachusetts. Founded in 1855, the bank's mission is to enrich the lives of those it serves while contributing to the health and vitality of its communities. Cape Cod 5 provides a full range of banking solutions, including personal and business banking, residential mortgages, investment management.
We go to the bottom of the second here in Orleans. Max Yale back to the mound after a lot of traffic in that first inning. He left the bases loaded. After loading them on a hit by pitch, a walk, and a single, the Firebirds couldn't make him pay in the first.
No, they could not. It was a good start to the inning. Joe Oyama gets down with a hit by pitch. Jack Penny also takes a free pass with a walk. Hallback with a nice bloop single in the center. But then back-to-back outs recorded by two of the hotter, more dependable bats in this lineup from Eddie Micheletti and Eddie King Jr. Give Yale a lot of credit. Worked himself into traffic and worked himself right out of it.
Yale will face the lefty and Brandon Stallman, who swings and misses at the slider. Yale is from
teammates who weren't too sure about the things played in the tournament game. Yale played in the tournament game. 8th grade for the high. Pops it up, third base side, infield territory, Forsythe is camped under it and will make the catch. Number 4. Good battle.
Now batting for the Firebirds, the left fielder from Tulane, number 25, Colin Tuft.
What's up? Hey, Doug. Good, man. How are you? Will, what do you need me to do? You want me to do something after the inning?
on offense.
Yeah, one of the best games of the season. Tight test on the road with the weekend. 5 total runs, 3 of them on
One is outside. And there's almost like a rotation with these Firebird outfielders. You have the 3 that start tonight: Eddie King, and Jake Casey, and Colin Tuft, and Fenwick Trimble as well, all competing. Tuft does something better. A line drive up the middle, a 2-out single for Colin Tuft.
6, Joichiro Oyama.
Yale against Oyama. 2 outs. In the bottom of the second. Oyama takes low. Outfield that's crowded for Orleans, but crowded in a good way where everyone's producing in a certain way, whether it be defensively or making plays in the outfield. Tough dive back. Backed by Eldredge. Whether it be providing a lot of offense in this lineup that has been as hot as it can get over the past week.
on their part.
Duff takes off in the 1-0, pitches right to throw, not even close to in time. Tuff didn't even have to slide. A stolen base for Colin Tuff. He's on second with 2 outs. Got away.
Sucks.
2 outs.
Yep.
Again, Yale strands him. He's trying 3 base runners in the first inning. 2 outs here.
2-1 is outside now. One jack hitter is Fenwick Trimble. When we get to the top of the third, we'll give you an update on the YD Wareham game. 3-1 on the ground the first, and a nice play by Will Hoyt. He catches it on a hop and touches first base for out number 3. Yale strands another.
Folks, as if $1,000, the chance of winning $1,000 isn't temptation enough to.
This is your world, your job, your crew, your CAT compact equipment. And this is the support from your local CAT dealer. This is helping you meet your deadlines, your bottom line, your offers, your savings. This is getting you your parts and everything you need on time, easier than ever.
strikeouts for another inning. Here in Orleans, defeated Melendez. Who's the batter, the seventh inner for Chatham. Second inning. 3 with 2 strikeouts. Rios and Melendez are inside a 4-pitch walk. And Rodriguez to lead off the
The center fielder from Miami of Ohio, number 8, Zach McDonald.
First ball to Zach McDonald. Red of Miami of Ohio. McDonald, 317 out here on the gate. Takes the ball outside. Now 2-0, and Carpelati is going to meet with Rodriguez after 6 straight balls and debut jitters. Maybe a reason why Rodriguez is having trouble finding his zone during the third.
If there's anybody that can calm him down here on his debut in baseball, is Joan Carpelati. This guy's got the connection every pitcher he meets. Such an easy guy to talk to. He's so smart. 2 years of starter receivers down before the game.
McDonald is the batter against Rodriguez as he works in the second inning. Pitches line into left field, a base hit for McDonald. And Chatham threatening here in the third. 2-1 with nobody out.
The shortstop from Florida, number 3, Derek Fabian.
Carpelati on the ball in the dirt. Those runners will move up. The third eliminates the second McDonald. Got him. Who's in the driver's seat here?
Fine.
Picks it up, but he's going to have no play. A single for Derek Fabian, driving the first run of the game. Scoring is Melendez.
Second baseman from the University of South Alabama, number 6, Brennan Holt.
innings at the end of the day.
Rodriguez comes out, in comes a new arm for the Firebirds. See who it is when we come back.
At Curry, we'll meet you where you are and help you discover who you want to become.
Your attention please now. Pitching for the Firebirds from Georgetown University, number 36, Everett Catlett. The right fielder from Oklahoma State, number 5, Tyler Wolford. The left fielder from Texas A&M, number 60, Caden Kent.
Okay. Gotcha.
First baseman from Lipscomb University, number 57, Trace Wilhoit. The designated hitter from Hawaii, number 10, Kyson Donahue. The third baseman from Mississippi State, number 53, Lane Forsythe. The catcher from Pitt, number 50, Jaden Melendez.
It's time to get into the spirit, Cape Cod. And be it gardening spirit, summer fun spirit, or baseball spirit. The team at Agway of Cape Cod has you covered.
1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old home.
See you at Agway this season.
Summer sure does sound good. Try all the Dunkin' refreshers, iced coffee, cold brew, and lattes. Dunkin'.
We are back on the Birds Broadcast Network. We apologize for the technical difficulties with our audio. You know, you've had to put up with Dylan and I for long enough. We thought maybe it would be a nice little break to get away from us. But thank goodness, after an inning where things unfortunately go by the wayside for Orleans, Firebirds now trail 7-0 after 7 runs in the top of the frame. Chatham bats around and takes the lead against Orleans here from Eldredge.
That's right, Ian. An inning that really hasn't happened to the Firebirds a lot this season. They've been limiting a lot of damage this season, but now 7 here in the third inning. They have a lot of time to come back, however.
They do. And that's the thing about this Firebirds team is they simply don't quit, and they understand the implications of this game, and you control your own destiny in terms of potentially clinching the East Division. It's going to be a difficult hole to climb out of, but we've talked about it before. A Firebirds offense that has scored double-digit runs in 5 of its last 7 games. Playing a Chatham team with new life, yes, but Fenwick Trimble with a really powerful swing has a big opportunity to right the ship if he can get on to start the inning.
Yale has been in the Chatham dugout for a good amount of time. His first pitch to Trimble is swung on and fouled. Third base line out of play. How do you think a long inning like that can affect a pitcher like Yale, who is cruising through the second?
Oh, it could certainly hurt him. Right, the momentum of a game in baseball is unpredictable, but you don't expect to sit on a bench for upwards of 20 to 25 minutes in between half innings.
Now he has a lot of run support. However, 7-0. Chatham in front, and Ian talking about the playoffs. YD is winning as well.
They're not just winning, they're winning big. Currently a 5-0 lead on the road against the Wareham Gatemen in the bottom of the fifth. If Orleans loses and YD wins, the Red Sox clinch the East Division.
0-2 pop up in the center. McDonald in right center field makes the catch for out number 1. And up comes Jack Penny, the left-handed hitter, with 1 out. Here in the third, Birds down 7 after a 7-run third inning by Chatham. Not something we've seen a lot this season, especially here early in the game. The first pitch to Jack Penny is down and away from Yale, who has recorded 6 outs of his last 7 batters. Colin Tuff with a single broke up that streak. The 1-0 goes the other way, does Penny down the line. Kent near the line, he dives, he makes the catch on the run. Caden Kent for out number 2.
You know, his Orleans pitching staff has been really good all summer long. The second lowest ERA in the CCBL headed into tonight's game in the regular season finale. But the pitching also has been depleted by a lot of guys coming and going. New arms making their debuts in such a high-leverage game where the stakes are so high. That's a lot to ask. Evan Truitt gives you a strong first inning. He's been there, done that. This was his 4th time playing the Anglers. And 8th or 9th time pitching in the Cape Cod Baseball League. But to make your debut this late in the summer, it's not easy.
1-0 and a swing and a miss. Like you said, not easy, but the Firebirds are doing this to set themselves up for success in the playoffs. They've clinched a top 2 seed. It was just a matter of would they be hosting a second-round playoff series if they got there and if they'd win the East.
I mean, the expectation for a good chunk of this season, or at least from the outsider's point of view, was that Orleans was locked into that second spot. Chatham did Orleans a big favor by surprising Yarmouth Dennis on Monday night and setting up a really important game yesterday from Red Wilson Field. Orleans came up big in that game, but they've played a lot of tough teams, and it's been a tough week, and they've done well.
A 2-1 is low. Check that. 3-1. So Hallback walks with 2 outs here in the third. Birds need to start chipping away pretty soon after a big inning from Chatham. So 7 cross the plate. Eddie Micheletti Jr. comes to the plate. In a few days ago, we touched on Micheletti's new cleats. Today, it's a haircut given by who else but Jonathan Gonzalez.
What hasn't Jonathan Gonzalez done this summer? An all-star on the mound for Orleans, rising senior from Stetson. I think it was a 2-day process for Micheletti. He got part of the hair trimmed on one day, and then Gonzo was able to finish it off today in terms of cutting the hair, and it looks beautiful. I know you can't see it, but it's a good cut for Eddie Micheletti.
There was a lot of hair there. It was probably a 2-day process. The 1-1 is high. Coming to the ballpark around 2 o'clock. You can usually see someone in the chair with Gonzalez with his razor, shaping somebody up, whoever it might be on the roster. 2-1, Hallback gets picked. A pickoff for Max Yale. Things not going the Firebirds' way through the first 3, 7-0 Chatham.
At Del Mar Vacations, we believe that every moment spent on Cape Cod is a memory waiting to happen. Book a stay with us. And when you're here, why not enjoy the excitement of a Cape Cod Baseball League game? Del Mar Vacations proudly partners with the Cape Cod Baseball League, where you can watch the future stars of tomorrow play today. Whether you're seeking a family getaway or an adventure-filled escape, Del Mar Vacations has the perfect home for you. Book your dream vacation today and discover the beauty of Cape Cod. Del Mar Vacations and the Cape Cod Baseball League, your ticket to an extraordinary getaway.
Back here on the Birds Broadcast Network. Score doesn't look pretty through 3 at Chatham, up 7-0. As we head to the 4th, and the 4th new pitcher for the Firebirds, Ian.
And one of the more dependable options for this team this summer, Sam Leboki, the rising redshirt senior from Vanderbilt. Start of the year out of a bullpen, came out of a bullpen for the Commodores in the spring, has been in the starting rotation as of late, but most likely his role is going to be a high-leverage setup man and a high-leverage reliever for this team in the playoffs. Now, his goal is just to keep the game where it is. Keep it 7 runs. It's already a big deficit. You cannot let it grow to anything larger than that here in the top of the 4th.
First, it was Evan Truitt. He pitched a scoreless first. Joel Rodriguez pitched a scoreless second. Chatham didn't have a base runner till the 3rd as McDonald takes a strike. Then Everett Catlett came in. He pitched an inning, allowed 4 runs, all earned on 2 hits and 2 walks. McDonald swings and misses at the slider by Leboki. And here's Sam Leboki out of Vanderbilt, the rising graduate student. McDonald, a swing and a miss. Another strikeout for the Firebirds pitching staff. This time McDonald goes down swinging.
Leboki has given Orleans some really good moments on the mound this summer. One of the better relievers in the SEC this past spring with Vanderbilt. He's got a sweeping slider that gets a lot of swing and miss. Also coming off a good start, too. His latest start, he pitched 4 innings against Hyannis. He only gave up 2 runs. Looks very comfortable out there on the mound.
Fabian into center field off the end of the bat. It'll drop in front of Eddie King. A slider that Fabian was early on, but he puts it in the center on some good luck. A 1-out single for him.
Fabian in a game where Chatham only has 5 hits, but has scored 7 runs. I think there's some self-inflicted wounds from Orleans. He owns 2 of those hits. An infield single last inning, deep into the hole, and Jack Penny couldn't make a play at short. And another single here with 1 out in the 4th.
Right back to Leboki to second. The throw is low, picked by Penny. The throw to first. Double play. Great defense by Orleans. Gets Leboki out of the single by Fabian. 1-6-3, the double play as we go to the bottom of the 4th.
Take control of your future today with life-changing opportunities in the United States Army. With opportunities for adventure and training and over 150 career paths, the Army is a way to be all you can be. Visit GoArmy.com or stop by your local recruiting station to learn more. Find out if the Army is right for you at GoArmy.com. Firebirds, the designated hitter from Virginia Tech, number 24, Eddie Micheletti Jr.
Here in the bottom of the 4th on the Birds Broadcast Network. Score still the same, 7-0 with Chatham in front. Eddie Micheletti Jr., the batter, came up in the 4th inning, or the 3rd inning, I should say, but a Matt Hallback pickoff ended that at-bat pretty early. For Micheletti, he'll have a new and fresh count here in the 4th.
You don't see that very often. Orleans has been fairly smart on the base paths this season. And Hallback, not necessarily someone to take a large lead, given the fact that he hasn't even attempted to steal a base this year. it's just been that kind of day for the Firebirds, a team that's been on top of its game, so sharp over the last week, and has been so dominant. Sometimes things don't break your way.
Through 3.5, they are not, but a lot of time to go for the Firebirds to make their way back into this one. Micheletti starts off this inning. 2-1 the count against Yale, whose slider is popped up behind third. Forsythe in foul ground makes the catch for out number 1. That slider from Yale has been the go-to and has gotten a lot of outs so far tonight, Ian.
It has been his pitch, clocking in the mid-80s. You know, he isn't necessarily beating Orleans because he's been the most efficient pitcher in the world. He's thrown just under 60 pitches, 58 total, and only 30 of them have been for strikes. But whenever Orleans tries to make contact with that slider, he's avoiding the barrel.
First pitch outside to Eddie King. Yale's so good. We told you about his story from 8th grade, playing on the varsity team in high school, but also found a trainer during COVID named James Fort, about 2 hours away from where he lived in Portville, New York. A same trainer that worked with Matt Brash, who's now a star reliever for the Seattle Mariners. Taught him how to take care of his body, how to grow as a baseball player, and certain workouts that work for him and his frame. He now stands at 6'6". The lefty does. The 2-1 to King. Inside for a ball, 3-1. And funny enough, Ian, you're going to get a kick out of this.
Oh, will I?
Yale used to only be a fastball and a slider lefty. He added in a third pitch, the changeup. 3-1. Fouled away. That might have been it. A changeup that he actually found the grip and felt most comfortable with the grip in math class. He had a baseball in his hand, and he was just toying around with different changeup grips until he found the one that he liked the most. The full count pitch, outside, ball 4.
Seems like a dedicated student to me. Math used to be my strong suit in middle school, not necessarily my best friend in high school or college. The best things happen to those probably when they're least expecting it, right? Just fooling around with your game, staying curious, never being complacent. And it's awesome to see that he's going to translate that to the next level and using it here. And it came really out of nowhere. I'm just happy that he didn't let it go. He not only took it from math class, but actually tried to see what it would do on the mound. And it was successful. To be a top 250 prospect out of such a small school in Portville High, you have to be creative.
A balk by Yale. King will take second here with 1 out. Portville, New York, and Portville High, the town's population is only 900 people. It's not exactly buzzing with everyone on every single block. Some baseball players have made it out of Portville High School, but usually at the D2 JUCO level. Yale heading to a Power 5 program in West Virginia at the time. He just finished his freshman year there as a strike is dealt to Stallman. One of not very many from Portville that have made it big. He's having a lot of success. 1-1 the count to Stallman. King on second. The pitch is a ground ball right in front of home, picked up by Yale. The throw to first is in time to get Stallman moving to third. Is King with 2 outs.
I know it's a big ask for Owen Carpellotti with 2 outs, but with Eddie King Jr. on third base, this is a golden opportunity to get that donut off the board if you're the Firebirds. Carpellotti flew out to third base his first time up.
First pitch to Carp is fouled away, third base side. Firebirds have had their chances. I mean, look back to the first inning. They left the bases loaded. Second inning, a runner on third base with 2 outs. Here, another chance just like it. Count 0-1. Pitches outside.
What have we talked about all summer? Whenever one team misses an opportunity, another team finds an opportunity, finds the drive.
Carpellotti takes outside, now 2-1. Birds leave the bases loaded. That's the missed opportunity. Chatham puts up 7 in the top of the third. That's them capitalizing. 2-1 fastball just finds the outside corner. Carpellotti not in disagreement. He wants that spot for his pitchers as well. 2-2 with 2 outs. The pitch from Yale is outside. The slider doesn't get Carpellotti to bite. Full count, 2 outs, runner on third, Eddie King. Birds down 7-0 here in the fourth, looking to fight back. The pitch is fouled back.
Yeah, I think for the night for Yale, probably done after this inning. I know it's a depleted bullpen for Chatham, but he's now thrown upwards of 75 pitches. A big number through 4 innings.
The Birds with good at-bats, especially in that first. Full count pitch, ground ball to first. It stays fair. Will Hoyt will toss to Yale, who touches first for the out. Another runner left in scoring position for the Firebirds as King is stranded at third. And the Birds down 7-0 as we go to the fifth. My man Ian Nicholas will take over on the play-by-play.
Welcome back to the Birds Broadcast Network. No matter the sport, you always want to be hitting your stride and getting hot at this exact moment in the season. The Firebirds have their last regular season game tonight, and then playoffs start on Friday. So as a coach, this is when you want your team getting hot, and that's exactly what's going on with the Firebirds right now. They are on a winning streak. 4 games in a row they have won, and the Birds can feel it. They have the momentum on their side, and they can't wait to get to Friday. And as the team, they keep going, they keep feeling it. And in this game right now, they're trying to get as much momentum as possible to get the win and get the #1 seed in the East. Guys, back to you.
Thanks, Sammy. Unfortunately, right now in this game, the Firebirds trying to feel that momentum that they had heading into the game. But Chatham leads 7-0 after 4. Ian Nicholas, Dylan Pescatore on the call from Eldredge Park. Sam Leboki back on the mound for his second inning of work out of a bullpen. He faces 2, 3, and 4 in the Chatham order, starting with the right fielder, Tyler Wolfert. Wolfert struck out his first time up in the first inning, then drove in a run with a single in the third. A 7-run frame for Chatham. Laces one the other way to right. It's caught on a line by Colin Tuft for out number 1. Rather, Fenwick Trimble out there in right field. You know, I thought maybe he'd be wearing number 37 tonight. He decided yesterday at YD to wear number 37. He looks better at number 13.
That's a great point, Ian. I mean, Ivan Romero had to give up his jersey to Fenwick Trimble yesterday because I think Trimble just forgot his vest. You know, they have a few different jerseys, the Firebirds do. You have the red jerseys. You have the white jerseys like tonight. You have the black jerseys. Trimble just straight up forgot. Put on Ivan Romero's jersey because he wasn't throwing that day, and he won't be throwing until this weekend, most likely in the playoffs. And Trimble had an RBI single. Number change, same Fenwick.
Same Fenwick Trimble. The Virginia Beach, Virginia native, just finished up his sophomore year at James Madison, batting second for the Firebirds for the second time this year. At the plate is the all-star left fielder Caden Kent. Also drove in a run in that very lucrative third inning. And he walks with 1 out here in the 5th. Looking around the league, the other game that Orleans is paying attention to tonight is the YD Wareham game. Wareham hosting YD, and the Red Sox lead the Gatemen 8-0. As the first pitch fouled away and out of the park from Trace Wilhoit. Matt Hallback runs at it, and it lands into the hill. If YD wins that game against Wareham, an 8-0 lead in the top of the 6th from Spillane Field, and Orleans goes on to lose this game against Chatham, then the Red Sox overtake the Firebirds in the East Division standings here in the final day of the regular season. Ground ball weak to Brandon Stallman. It's ruled foul. So even after that big gutsy win from Orleans on the road against Red Wilson Field yesterday, you can see the standings on the right side of your screen. Dylan, if Orleans can't come back and YD holds that big lead, YD finishes the season with 49 points. Orleans a point behind at 48, locked into the second spot in the East.
And even if the Firebirds come back to even tie this game, they would lose because YD has the tiebreaker. Season series is tied, but YD has beat more of their East Division opponents throughout the season. Firebirds have had trouble with Chatham, and they've had trouble with Harwich. That has really, at times, hurt them, and especially now in this scenario.
The 1-2 to Wilhoit misses outside from Leboki to even the count 2-2. Runner on first is Kent, who walked. Speaking of those other East Division opponents, Harwich took down Brewster earlier today from Stony Brook Field in a tight 3-2 battle. The 2-2. Another low miss to work the count full. That game didn't have a whole lot of meaning in terms of the playoff standings. Harwich was already locked into the 3 spot, and Brewster locked into the 4 spot. The payoff down the middle for strike 3 looking. A backwards K for Sam Leboki. His second strikeout in his second inning of work.
Leboki at times has had trouble in his second and third innings of work, but right here, he looks as good as can be. That sweeping slider getting strike 3 called against Wilhoit. Already had an RBI single in the day.
Kyson Donahue swings at the first pitch and rolls it into the outfield. Trimble collects it. Donahue to first, and on the second is Kent. A 2-out single. Donahue drove in a run after being plunked in the third and reaches for the second time in a row here in the 5th.
Good piece of hitting by Donahue. Pulls it right into right field. Chatham threatening again. This offense, and you might think I'm joking, but the Chatham offense is nothing to mess around with.
You're right. You look at the full season numbers, and you're saying, what are you talking about? It's a Chatham A's offense that has scored the second fewest runs in the Cape Cod Baseball League. That has not been the case over the last 5 games. The Anglers have won 4 of their last 5 and have averaged 7.2 runs per game. Picked up a big win of YD on Monday, which helped Orleans yesterday, as Orleans took down YD, and thanks to Chatham's help the day before, overtook their spot at number 1 in the East. 2 runners on, 2 out. 2 balls and no strikes to Lane Forsyth. He takes once more on the fastball, now 3-0. Forsyth just finished up his junior season at Mississippi State, but transferring to Oklahoma State next year, originally from Tennessee. The 3-0. Upstairs, ball 4. Leboki hands out his second free pass of the inning. This one loads the bases. A 4-pitch, 2-out walk. Jaden Melendez comes to the plate.
And now for Orleans, it's in a situation where you need outs to be had. Especially with this game still being a little early here in the top of the 5th. You don't want to spend any of your arms that you want to use on Friday.
Leboki's first pitch to Melendez clips for lower third for a strike. Leboki has now thrown 23 pitches and 1 2/3 innings pitched, 12 of them for strikes. Right around the 50% mark. The 0-1 misses away, gloved by Carpellotti. Count even 1-1. Melendez walked in the 3rd inning and also popped out to second in the 3rd inning. That's right, Chatham batted around, scored 7 runs, and that's why the A's lead. The 1-1 is popped up behind the plate. Carpellotti gives it a look. Out of play. Leboki a strike away from getting out of a bases-loaded jam, trying oh so desperately to make sure this game doesn't get uglier than it is. A packed house from Eldredge. You can see it in the background. Hopeful this team can get up a comeback. Another foul ball.
Leboki at times has looked so comfortable out there, so consistent, but also at times has walked a few batters like this inning. It's been a very up and down summer for Leboki, who has so much potential.
An 8.3 ERA headed into tonight. Foul down the third base side. He's done a little bit of everything for Orleans, and you've mentioned it. There have been ups, there have been downs. His 9th appearance on the year, his 4th out of a bullpen. Just over 18 innings pitched. Walks haven't been the issue. He has given up over 25 hits on the year and under 20 innings pitched. But he gets a big out there. Second strikeout of the inning. Both of them of a looking variety. Jaden Melendez goes down on strikes and leaves the bases loaded for Chatham. Still a 7-0 game. The Anglers lead. Bottom of the 5th we go here on the Birds Broadcast Network.
So put an exclamation point on your summer day and head over to the Knack for the type of food that hits the spot after a day in the summer sun. Now let's go Firebirds. Hit one over the Knack outfield banner.
Back on the Birds Broadcast Network in the bottom of the 5th inning. First pitching change of the night for the Chatham A's, Dylan Max Yale. His 2nd start of the summer, his 2nd against Orleans, and his 2nd good start.
He was more than good tonight. He was great. 4 innings of scoreless baseball, allowing just 2 hits, walking 3, and striking out 1. Yale's slider got a lot of Firebirds out in front, either pulling it to second or first base in left-handed batters or right-handed batters, pulling it to third or short. Yeah, it was really good, but now a new pitcher in for Chatham, and hopefully the Firebirds can have some success against him.
That pitcher is somebody the Firebirds have seen recently. The 6'4" left-handed arm, originally from Spokane Community College, transferring to Gonzaga after 2 years at the JUCO level, Liam Paddock. He faces the right-handed Colin Tuft, the bottom man in the order for the Firebirds. His first pitch misses outside, 1-0. Paddock got the win when Orleans faced Chatham on the 28th of July. A 5-4 victory for the A's from Veterans Field. Pitched 2 2/3 innings. Gave up 2 earned runs. That pitch misses so high, Melendez can't even snag it. Tough to head 2-0. Was not a clean inning for Paddock. Clean outing, rather. He allowed 2 hits and walked a season-high 4 batters with only 1 strikeout. Still got away, giving up just 2 earned runs. The 2-0. In for a strike with a fastball. 2-1. Features a 4-pitch mix, including that fastball, as well as a changeup, a slider, and a curveball. Originally from Hayden, Idaho. A West Coast guy. The 2-2. Maybe not Idaho on the coast of the United States, but definitely on the western part of the U.S. Colin Tuft in his first at bat tonight singled in the second inning, one of just 2 hits for a Firebirds team with his 6th highest scoring offense in the league. Paddock's 2-2. Misses upstairs once again, and the count full.
Hayden, Idaho, after some quick Google searching. On the eastern part of Idaho, Spokane, which is on the western part of Washington, only about an hour away from each other.
I thought it would be more. The 3-2, another pitch that can't be gloved by Jaden Melendez. It misses way high for ball 4. And a leadoff walk for Colin Tuft.
Ian, you know I'm a West Coast guy. Now, I know that Spokane is right next to Idaho because I was told that there is a town in between Idaho and Washington on the border called Moscow. And I thought that was pretty cool.
There's some crazy town names across the country. That's just one of them. Joe Oyama takes a breaking ball for a strike on the inside part of a plate, 1-0. I think the craziest part about Liam Paddock and his journey, he started at Spokane Community College without cheating and looking at my computer screen. Can you guess what their mascot was?
The community college has a mascot?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Well, what do you think? Spokane Community College community colleges?
It's possible. Spokane CCCC?
No.
Let's see. Is it something to do with the town?
Not at all.
Ooh.
Has to do with what I could describe as an animal. Colin Tuft takes off for second. He gets there, standing up. Bobbled by Melendez, kept it in front of him, could not make the throw to gun Tuft down. A runner in scoring position for Orleans, down 7 runs.
How about the Wolves?
No, it's crazy. It's an animal so crazy it doesn't actually exist. It's only rumored to exist.
Oh, Bigfoot.
Close. It's essentially like the synonym for Bigfoot.
Oh, Sasquatch.
You got it.
Bang. Third time's a charm.
The 2-1 also gets away from Melendez. In on 2 pitches without stealing a base. Colin Tuft has worked his way around the horn.
The Firebirds have had a runner on third base in now 4 of the 5 innings.
None of them have come home. Orleans loaded the bases in the first inning with 1 out. Could not score. It's been an uphill battle ever since. The Spokane Community College Sasquatches. Former school of Liam Paddock. He misses low for ball 4 and hands out his second walk in a row to start his outing. He walked 4 in just under 3 innings pitched against Orleans late last month. He walks 2 without recording an out here in the bottom of the 5th.
Birds have a little bit of life here with nobody out. Paddock, who comes in with a lot of run support. It's not always easy pitching with runs behind you. And with first and third, you have to think Oyama might be on the move.
Fenwick Trimble takes the pitch inside 1-0. Reached on a fielder's choice in the first. Flew out to center field in the third. Orleans with its best opportunity to get back into this game. 1-1. Just like Oyama, Paddock was a West Coast League guy last summer. Did not play for the Wenatchee Apple Sox like Oyama or first baseman Matt Hallback. Played for the Port Angeles Lefties. Another good name.
Especially for Paddock, being a lefty.
The 1-1. Misses low and away. That time, Melendez, a really good effort to keep that ball in front of him. That easily could have been a wild pitch if it scored Colin Tuft.
You think they only take lefties over there?
I was going to ask the same question. That wouldn't be super smart. The 2-1 is smoked high in the air to left center field. 2 players under it, including Kent and McDonald. It's snagged by McDonald. Tuft tags up and scores. Orleans finally breaks the donut on the board, and the Firebirds faithful erupt. Could a rally be in the bones of the Birds? Fenwick Trimble, with his 5th sack fly of the summer, drives in Colin Tuft. Orleans still trails by 6.
Trimble, with that sack fly, his 16th RBI on the year. Just getting jobs done, getting one in. Now you cut down the lead. Slowly but surely, you find a way back.
That's the first out of the inning. Jack Penny, he leads this team in runs batted in with 19. Tied for 10th in the league headed into tonight. Penny, so reliable. Tied for second in the league in games played. He's been here since day one. A driving force of a Firebirds team that sits at number 1 in the East Division as of tonight. Takes a pitch on the outside corner for a ball. He's ahead 2-0. And last summer, Paddock was really good in the West Coast League. Pitched 36 innings across 12 appearances with a 2.5 ERA. His 2-0 on the upper third for a strike. Penny still ahead 2-1. This summer on the Cape, it's been a bit more difficult for Paddock. His ERA headed into tonight sat at just under 5.5. This is his 9th appearance and 8th out of a bullpen. Oyama on first. He walked. The 2-1. Breaking ball. Dips low of his own for ball 3. And Paddock in danger of walking his third batter in just a third of an inning with one more walk. Jack Penny, top 10 in the league, not only in games played, but also in walks taken. And he walks one more time. A 5-pitch base on balls. Dylan, I don't want to say this reminds me of a certain inning from yesterday's game against YD, but kind of reminds me of that first inning against Braden Montgomery.
It does, because it's a pitcher that's coming in, and he has some run support behind him, but he can't find the zone right now. And the Firebirds have to take advantage. It was early back in the second and the third. Now you're in the fifth. I mean, you don't want to put a certain number on any sort of inning, but you have to try to get at least 1 or 2 more here to find yourself back into this game. Set yourself up. You head to the 6th, and maybe you're down 3 or 4. My favorite part about this is Chatham's having a mound visit, and Joe Oyama's practicing his swing on second base.
That's just what Joe Oyama does. He is unique, fun to watch, a great teammate, and a one of one. Named the Charles F. Moore Senior Award winner before the game. That is the Orleans Firebirds yearly Most Valuable Player Award. From Okinawa, Japan, to the Cape Cod Baseball League, Joe Oyama has arguably been the story of the summer here in Orleans and in the Cape. 2 runners on, 1 out. His former summer ball teammate, Matt Hallback, at the plate. A West Coast League on West Coast League alum battle against Liam Paddock. Hallback takes the first pitch. Another ball, 1-0.
If you're Hallback, you know Paddock has not been able to find the zone yet. Make sure it's a strike before your swing.
21 pitches, 15 balls, and a strike. Evens the count, 1-1. A little low. Hallback doesn't catch the break, the count even. Todd Shelton, the interim manager who took over the reins on July 28th, just had a word with Paddock. 2-1. In fact, Shelton, his first game as acting manager was against Orleans. It was a doubleheader. First, a game that started all the way back on July 5th, which ended in an 8-7 Orleans win last Friday, and then a 5-4 Chatham win from Veterans Field. The 2-1. Low and in once more, ball 3.
Paddock can't find anything right now. And Ian, we talked about the depth in the Chatham bullpen as well. They don't have a lot of it. So they're going to let Paddock ride for the most part.
A ball away from walking the bases loaded. And that is exactly what he does. The Anglers are in a bind. Without a lot of pitching and with a pitcher that can't find a lot of strikes, Eddie Micheletti with a lot of pressure on him to deliver with his team down 6 runs in the bottom of the 5th.
The Firebirds need that big swing. They need a swing to get them back into this game.
It doesn't come there. Instead, it's a first pitch strike from Paddock, who gets ahead 0-1. A couple big swings from the Delaware native yesterday in the 11-4 win against Yarmouth Dennis. He went 2 for 4 with a pair of doubles and 3 runs driven in. He takes a swing towards first. Backhanded. Throw to second in time. Throw to first is high. And Micheletti safe. Oyama scores. Micheletti beats out the double play ball. And the Birds with their second run of the inning.
Micheletti hits it hard to first. Will Hoyt throws it to Fabian at short to cut down Hallback for out number 2. But the throw back, hustle matters, and that run could prove big as we go through second run for Orleans in this inning.
The force out of Matt Hallback. Jack Penny to third. Micheletti to first. Todd Shelton with his second mound visit of the inning to visit Liam Paddock for the last time. He'll take the ball from the future Gonzaga University arm, who gives up 2 earned runs. Orleans finally with life in the bottom of the 5th inning. 2 base runners on and 2 out. Who's the new pitcher going to be? You'll find out on the other side of a break here on the Birds Broadcast Network.
This is your world, your job, your crew, your Cat Compact equipment. And this is the support from your local cat dealer. This is helping you meet your deadlines, your bottom line, your offers, your savings. This is getting you your parts and everything you need on time, easier than ever.
Todd Shelton turns to a familiar face in need of an out with 2 base runners on and 2 out in the bottom of the 5th. He turns to Sam Simmons, who he coaches at Panola Community College in Carthage, Texas. Eddie King Jr., the batter. Jack Penny on third. Eddie Micheletti on first. He just drove in a run after beating out a double play ball. A forced out of Matt Hallback at second. But Micheletti beat out the throw from shortstop Derek Fabian to reach and allow Joe Oyama to score his second run of the inning. King Jr. falls behind 0-1. Blocked up by Melendez in the dirt. The count now even. Simmons was a reliever in the spring with the Panola Ponies. In 26 innings out of a bullpen. Had 3 saves and pitched just under 50 innings. His 1-1 curveball gets away from Melendez, but Jack Penny stays at third. Ball 2.
Melendez had a tough time behind the plate in this inning. A few wild pitches, a few pass balls, and an aggressive runner in Penny on third.
The 2-1. On the outside corner for a strike, 2-2. King 0 for 1 tonight. Grounded out to short to end the first inning and walked in the 4th. The new pitcher, Sam Simmons. And a wild pitch spikes away from Melendez, and Jack Penny cruises to home plate for run number 3 of the inning. Pitching, unfortunately, has been the problem for Chatham this summer. And a new option out of a bullpen. Spikes a pitch past the left hip of Melendez and scores a run. Eddie Micheletti moves up to second and a full count to King Jr.
Big play, big play.
Ball 4, a big walk to extend the inning. Orleans did not have a lot of life. Headed into the bottom of the fifth, down 7-0. But the rally continues. It's another free pass for Orleans, the fifth free pass of the inning. Orleans is just taking advantage of whatever Chatham has given them.
Walk of the inning, like you said.
Brandon Stallman pops one straight to first. Will Hoyt on a bounce ends the inning. Sam Simmons, given a situation, works out of it pretty well. His wild pitch does score Jack Penny from third, but he retires. The next batter he faces in Brandon Stallman. And the Panola College Pony gets it done for his college coach and now his summer ball coach, Todd Shelton. Orleans 3 runs in the bottom of the fifth. Can they shut out Chatham in the top of the sixth? You'll have to see right here on the Birds Broadcast Network.
At Curry, we'll meet you where you are and help you discover who you want to become.
Your attention, please. Now, pitching for the Firebirds from Pierce College.
The Firebirds score 3 runs without a hit in the bottom of the fifth inning because of 5 walks issued by 2 different Chatham pitchers. It's a ball game once again, and Dylan, you got to give credit to Sam Leboki to keep it a 7-run game over 2 innings.
100%. Leboki came in. He threw 2 scoreless innings, allowing just 2 hits and 2 walks, striking out 3. Probably his best outing of the year when it comes to runs scored. And now a new pitcher in for the Firebirds.
Making his 4th outing of the year from Pierce College in Washington State, Curran Jacobs. He last pitched against Chatham last Friday in the 5-4 loss to the A's, a scoreless inning in which he loaded the bases but also got a strikeout to get out of the bases loaded jam. That inning included 2 strikeouts and 2 walks, his best outing of the summer.
Easily. And he was pumped up coming off the mound. He gave the Firebirds a chance to come back. Now, sadly, they didn't. They were a few feet away, 90 feet to be exact, with the man on third and 2 outs in the inning. But Jacobs looking to build on that inning against the bottom of Chatham's order.
He'll face 8-9-1, starting with the center fielder from Miami of Ohio, Zach McDonald. Singled in the 3rd, struck out swinging in the 5th against Leboki. He's 1 for 2. Jacobs, his first pitch up and in 1-0. Originally from Worcester County, Massachusetts, Jacobs' family currently resides in Yarmouthport, about half an hour away from here. The 1-0 pitch on the lower 3rd for a strike, 1-1. His first 2 outings of the summer unfortunately did not go his way. Jacobs allowed 5 earned runs in 2 innings pitched and losses to Hyannis and YD. Trying to settle it in the regular season finale. His 1-1 misses high and clanks the backstop. Owen Carpellotti can't glove it, ball 2.
Jacobs has to control the fastball. That's been the bugaboo so far.
It's a fastball that's topped out at 95 miles an hour. Usually settles in around 91 to 92. His 2-1 settles in for strike 2 and evens the count to McDonald. It's been a long and winding road for the 6'5", 240-pound right-handed pitcher. Currently 23 years old, but hasn't played a lot of college ball due to multiple major injuries. The 2-2 misses low and away for ball 3. Heading into his freshman season of college at UMass Dartmouth, he tore his UCL in his elbow, which required him to get Tommy John surgery. which he did, and took him out for 2 years of college ball. The payoff pitch. Weakly hit towards Jacobs. He bobbles it once, twice, now flips, and luckily can't do it in time. It was a tight play. Jacobs had issues fielding that ground ball from Zach McDonald, and ultimately that ball ate him up. McDonald reaches on what goes down as the first error of the game for either team.
No matter how many times you practice it, it's never easy fielding your position as a pitcher, coming off the mound, and a ball that just kept escaping the control of Jacobs.
1-0 the count as Jacobs misses low to Derek Fabian, the bottom man in the order, following the error. Chatham has scored 7 runs tonight off just 6 hits. That was the first error from Orleans, but the A's have benefited from free passes. 5 free passes on the game. The 1-1. Another low miss to the future Auburn Tiger, 2-1. Fabian drove in a run with one of his 6 hits on the game for Chatham, a run-scoring single, the first of 7 runs in the 3rd inning. That was lined into the netting the other way, but foul. 2-2. Fabian believes that his bat is broken, and it is. A piece of it flew away.
Hit so many broken bats this summer in Orleans, with other teams. Sometimes they even lose the bat in the swing.
What did we calculate a few days ago that Orleans, who's broken just over 30 bats on the summer, probably $6,000 short because of all the broken bats. Ball 3 to Fabian. He's worked the count full. Runner on first is McDonald, who reached on Jacobs' error. A ground ball to the right side of the mound that Jacobs couldn't field. High and away. A miss for ball 4.
Jacobs just pulled that fastball. He's trying to overthrow it a little bit, let it go a little bit too late and pulled it. Not how you want to start an inning after your team puts up 3. Now Chatham has 2 on, nobody out.
Jacobs has handed out 7 walks in 3 innings this summer. But remember, just like I said a few moments ago, did work himself into traffic the last time he played Chatham. Loaded the bases and got out of it scot-free. Brandon Stallman, expecting a bunt from Brennan Holt, the top man in the order, playing in the grass at third with 2 runners on and no out. The 1-0 misses high for ball 2.
Jacobs is consistently getting behind in counts. He has to throw his fastball for a strike early and then set up his off-speed pitches for the hitters to chase, but right now he's not finding strikes at the start of the at-bat.
He nearly finds the helmet of Holt. That pitch runs up and in. 15 pitches for Jacobs, 10 of them balls. He has to take a breath and settle in danger of loading the bases off an error, a walk, and potentially another walk if he hands out one more ball. The 3-0 misses low and in and nearly brushes Holt off the plate. Drops the bat, trots the first, bases loaded for Chatham. Dylan, it's almost like deja vu. Orleans just scored 3 runs off 5 walks and no hits, and Chatham could do some damage here without a hit of their own.
You know, frustrating situation for the Firebirds. They had all the momentum, scoring 3 runs in the 5th, but now walks have given it right back to Chatham.
Tyler Wolfert, the second man in the order, he's not going to swing. Another pitch misses high for Jacobs. 1-0. McDonald on third, Fabian on second, Holt on first. 18th year manager Callie Nicholson makes his way to the mound to talk with Jacobs. We'll see if this is just a routine mound visit or a call to the bullpen for the former Orleans Firebirds pitching coach. He doesn't take the ball from him. Instead, he's got his hands crossed. Jacobs has thrown 17 pitches, 12 of them balls. Home plate umpire Jim Fonseca makes his way to the mound. Dylan, what is the possible game plan to get out of this jam? I know it's going to be very difficult to get out of it scot-free, but how do you limit the damage here?
Well, you have to start by throwing strikes. If you can't spot the fastball for a strike, then you're already behind the 8 ball. Jacobs has to find the zone. If Chatham hits it, they hit it, but walking across runs is not going to help your case in any way.
Orleans didn't need a win tonight to win the East Division, but with YD leading Wareham 8-2, Orleans would need to win if YD wins to take number 1 in the East. Fastball misses high from Wolfert, 2-0. Bases loaded, nobody out to the Oklahoma State Cowboy. Fastball for a strike, 2-1. I mentioned the ups and downs for Jacobs through injury. After originally recovering from Tommy John surgery after 2 years at UMass Dartmouth, he tore that UCL again as that pitch is fouled away 2-2. The second time around, did not decide to get Tommy John. Instead, got a PCR injection, which ultimately helped him get back on track. Went to drive line at Washington State as that pitch misses high for ball 3. The check swing held up, according to the first base umpire, Mike Hinojosa. But the PRP injection, as well as rehab spent at Driveline in Washington State, a baseball facility, getting Jacobs back to a point where he could be out here on the mound doing his thing. He walks in a run. It's an RBI walk for Tyler Wolfert. Coming around the score is Zach McDonald, who started the inning, reaching on an error committed by Jacobs. Kelly Nicholson makes his way to the mound for the second time in a matter of minutes to talk with Jacobs, a pitcher already coming out of a bullpen to replace the in-state native. He'll find out who it is and how he could potentially attack a bases-loaded jam with nobody out when we come back in just a moment.
It's time to get into the spirit, Cape Cod. And be it gardening spirit, summer fun spirit, or baseball spirit, the team at Agway of Cape Cod has you covered.
1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old.
See you at Agway this season.
Colton Sundloff into the game, trying to work out of the jam created by Curran Jacobs. Jacobs, unfortunately, could not record an out. Walked 3 batters in a row, allowed Zach McDonald to reach on an error, which he committed himself. He just scored on a walk from Tyler Wolfert. Caden Kent, the all-star at the plate, the lefty to face the righty, Colton Sundloff. His first pitch misses up and away for ball 1. The runner on third is Derek Fabian. On second, Brennan Holt. On first, Wolfert. All of them walked. Sundloff just finished his second year at Oklahoma, transferring to the University of San Diego for his junior year. His 1-0 pitch misses high, 2-0. Dylan, he had a rough time out last go-around, but a lot of potential in the arm of Colton Sundloff.
Sundloff was great in his first 3 2/3 and 2 outings. Scoreless baseball, not even a walk and 2 hits allowed. Third outing is where he ran into some problems against Hyannis on Sunday night.
Ripped down the right field line and fair from Caden Kent. Fabian scores. Holt gets the wave. One more potentially on the way home. It's a ground rule double. So held up at third is Wolfert. And driving in 2 runs with that 2-bagger is Caden Kent. A great response from Chatham. 3 runs hung up against the A's in the bottom of the 5th. And that's their 3rd run here in the top of the 6th to re-extend the lead to 7.
That's what happens. You can't walk. You can't allow free passes to any team, especially a hot Chatham team, and they'll make you pay. That's what they just did.
So runners on 2nd and 3rd with 2 away, rather none away, for Trace Wilhoit, who takes the ball 1-0. Both of those runs go against Curran Jacobs. He gave up 3 runs, responsible also for the base runner on 3rd, which is Wolfert. 2 of those runs earned. Sundell off the 1-0. Launched high into the night sky in left center field. It dies ahead of a wall and is caught by Colin Tuft. His throw to 3rd is snagged by Jack Penny. The runner is safe there, Caden Kent, and another runner scores. Tyler Wolfert on the sac fly from Trace Wilhoit. Chatham with its largest lead of the night, 8 runs. In the top of the 6th, it's 11-3.
Only the first out of the inning. The inning that has been a nightmare. The second one tonight, at least.
7 runs in the 3rd inning. Orleans didn't respond until the bottom of the 5th, scoring 3 runs off 5 walks. 4 runs scored by Chatham here in the top of the 6th. Kyson Donahue, the batter. He takes the ball 1-0. Donahue drove in one of those 7 runs in the 3rd with a hit by pitch. The bases were loaded. He singled in the 6th. Came into the night batting just under 260. The 1-0. High fly. Shallow right field. Joe Oyama calls for it, makes the catch. Caden Kent, he takes off and he scores. Oyama lost that ball. It's been tough to judge fly balls here under the lights at Eldredge. Scoring the run is Kent, and reaching safely is Donahue. 12-3 the score. A 9-run lead for Chatham. Second error of the inning from Orleans, as Donahue reaches on what's going to go down as an E4 for Oyama. He had it, but couldn't make the play. Kind of surprising maybe that there was no infield fly rule there, but it was high, maybe not high enough. Lane Forsyth, he takes a ball 2-0. Sundell off his 2-0 pitch. In for a strike, 2-1. A tough day for Orleans with a lot of expectations, controlling its own destiny in terms of playoff seeding. But now trails by 9 with a lot of baseball to play in the top of the 6th. 2-1 pitch to Wilhoit, misses low, 3-1. A day, Dylan, where you want to win, but with a locked-up playoff spot, you kind of have an idea of what's going to play out, and you also necessarily weren't dealt a great hand given, the pitching situation and a lot of new arms coming in.
You're completely right. I mean, there's a lot of arms right now for the Firebirds that haven't seen a lot of time on the mound for Orleans. A few of them making their debut. We had Everett and Catlett making his debut. Rodriguez making his debut. Sherwood was always been here since day one. He was great to start off the game. Curran Jacobs making his third or fourth appearance. Sundloff, his fourth appearance. Not a lot of experienced arms on the mound for the Firebirds today, and it's all because they're setting up for the playoffs, which are Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, best of 3, against right now, which looks like Harwich.
If Orleans loses this game and YD goes on to beat Wareham, Red Sox lead by 8 over the Gatemen in the top of the 7th. That would be the matchup. Jaden Melendez, the batter, Owen Carpellotti, the catcher, keeps that ball that is in the dirt in front of him. 1-1 the count. Runner on second is Kyson Donahue. He reached on an error that allowed Caden Kent to score from third for the 12th run of a ball game for Chatham in the 5th of the inning. Lane Forsythe just walked. He's on first. Sundloff, the 1-1. Misses low once again, and Carpellotti does an excellent job of keeping it in front of him. If YD wins that game and Orleans loses this one, YD would win its first East Division title in 5 years and would be set to host Brewster in the first round of the playoffs on Friday. Orleans, as Dylan said, would be hosting Harwich right here for a best of 3 on Friday night. The 2-1. In for a strike, 2-2. Rather missing outside, 3-1. Sundloff in danger of reloading the bases in what has been a long inning for Orleans. The next batter up, Zach McDonald led off the inning. 3-1, chopped fair, rolling foul. Full count. Now, there's nothing really sweet about this game. But I got to give a lot of credit to Gracie Chavez, who just handed us some cookies. And I'm not going to enjoy it now. I'll indulge later.
Mid-inning.
I mean, that would be audibly unappealing. Right?
Eating on air would we would definitely lose a couple viewers.
We've done crazier things this year. Sundloff's payoff pitch, in for strike 3 looking. Dotted the lower third of the zone. And hands a backwards K to Jaden Melendez, his second backwards K in a row. Also the second out of the inning. This inning all began when Zach McDonald reached on an error committed by Curran Jacobs on the mound. That was followed by 3 straight walks. Chatham has scored 5 runs. A lot of runs scored in the last inning of play, not a lot of hits. Orleans scored 3 runs in the bottom of the 5th without a hit, benefited from 5 walks. In this inning, only 1 hit. A 2-run double from Caden Kent into the right field corner. Sundloff, this pitch is grounded through the middle of the infield. There's hit number 2 of the inning. And another run-scoring hit. An RBI single for Zach McDonald in his second at-bat of the frame. Kyson Donahue scores. And it's now a double-digit run lead for Chatham.
Ian, you said we've done crazier things on air. I mean, we do have a booth cam if we wanted to next inning to review these cookies on air. Up to you.
I don't see why not.
Maybe start at the bottom of the 6th. This is how we keep our viewers with us in a game like this. Bottom 6, we're going to start off the inning booth cam if we can get the technology all right. Trying out these cookies. Now, I was given a white chocolate macadamia cookie. And which one did you get? Did you get the same?
Dylan, that is not a white chocolate macadamia cookie.
That's what I was told.
Dylan.
No?
It's a chocolate cookie with chocolate chips in it. How in the world could you think that's a white chocolate macadamia cookie? Gracie, who is about 3 to 5 feet to our left, she is holding a white chocolate macadamia
Oh, she is the white chocolate cookie. Which cookie do I have?
You have a chocolate cookie, Dylan.
Oh, double chocolate.
Double chocolate.
Not single chocolate.
No, it's chocolate on chocolate.
Oh, okay.
2 runners on, 2 out.
I'm no cookie expert here, clearly.
Evidently. Derek Fabian at the plate. He takes ball 3, a miss outside. You're more of an ice cream guy.
Oh, don't even get me started. I'm a regular at the Brewster Scoop.
What's your go-to?
We'll go into your go-tos in a little bit. But I'm a huge salted caramel type of guy. Huge salted caramel, at times butter pecan. Other than that, not a mint chip when it's hot out.
Which it has been as of late. Not tonight. Only 63 degrees and clear. Is it an ice cream night?
No. More of a hot chocolate night. It's a pants day.
I
and a
told you to wear
jacket day.
pants.
Thank goodness.
2 runners on, 2 out. 3 balls and a strike to the bottom man in the order, Derek Fabian. That strike 2 with the fastball for the full count. Coffee, ice cream, a good flavor.
Oh, I do like myself a good coffee ice cream when it's time.
Could be time right now. This game is dragging on, getting late.
There was a mercy roll.
There is not. And the inning continues. Fabian jumping around. His second summer here on the Cape. A full count pitch once again awaits him. Spent last year with the Wareham Gatemen. Spent this year with the Chatham Anglers. I give him a lot of credit. He's played a lot of summer ball games here on the Cape. Moving from Florida to Wareham. Florida to Auburn in the spring.
Florida to Wareham.
Well, technically Florida to Wareham. He strikes out looking. Another backwards K for Colton Sundloff. Chatham has had 2 big innings, 2 really different innings, but 2 big results nonetheless. 7 runs in the third, 6 more here in the 6th. It's 13-3 Chatham. We go to the bottom of the 6th on the Birds Broadcast Network.
It's time to get into the spirit, Cape Cod. And be it gardening spirit, summer fun spirit, or baseball spirit. The team at Agway of Cape Cod has you covered.
1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old.
See you at Agway this season.
Back on the Birds Broadcast Network in the bottom of the 6th. Owen Carpellotti is hit by the first pitch that he sees. Plunked in the foot. Probably doesn't feel good. A leadoff base runner aboard for Orleans for the 2nd inning in a row. Last inning, 5 walks for Orleans turned into 3 runs scored. And Chatham responded not only by scoring 3 runs of their own in the top of the 6th, but scoring 3 more to double the lead. 13-3. That's where we're at. Colin Tuff to the plate. You got to give a lot of credit to this Chatham team. This team was dead in the water before Todd Shelton took over as the interim manager last Friday. And since he took over, they've won 4 of 5. They're on the way to win their 5th and their final 6 games. This team could have packed it in. And a lot of teams, to be honest, have packed it in. But they haven't.
No. They've been fighting tooth and nails. Even though they're eliminated, like you said, Ian. This is not an easy team to play. And look at the scoreboard. Chatham, 13 more runs.
You know what's the crazy part about this thing we call life? This Colin Tuft home run. It might only make the game 13-5, but a 2-run shot from Colin Tuft has the faithful of the Firebirds excited. in the bottom of the 6th.
This was a Firebirds team that was only down by 4 runs after the bottom of the 5th. They were down 7-3. More offense by Orleans. Maybe a little bit too late because of the pitching. That really wasn't up to snuff tonight. But it was a shot by Colin Tuff. He could really use it going into the playoffs and getting hot.
His second home run of the summer. His first since the 25th in a 10-6 win against Wareham, in which Orleans homered 4 times, including 2 of them from this guy, Joe Oyama. Slaps one the other way, and it's a single. Oyama's first hit of the night, and only his second hit in the last 3 games, which for any other player would be a normal occurrence, but for Joe Oyama, top 5 in the league in batting average, that's also really big for him.
Good start for Oyama. Goes the other way to get a base knock.
Here's Jake Casey, pinch hitting for the second man in the order, Fenwick Trimble. He'll most likely replace him in right field as well in the top of the 7th. The rising junior from Kent State has a quick word with Jada Melendez. Who knows if those two are familiar? Melendez, a Florida native, but spent this past season with the Pittsburgh Panthers.
Well, Pitt and Kent State in the same conference, right?
No.
No?
Pitt's in the ACC.
I believe they play each other.
Well, I'm sure they do.
Plus, where's Jay Casey from?
That's what I meant.
Pittsburgh, there you go.
Yeah, the Steel City. Although I don't think they produce as much steel now as they did back in the industrial days. Jake Casey whacks this one to right. It's down for a bloop single. Joe Oyama stumbles on his way around second. Joe Oyama, rather. Orleans, Chatham showing a lot of fight today. But this Firebirds team, just like they've done all summer long, even when they're down, they don't give in. And they don't pack it in and say, woe is me, woe is me. Let's go to the playoffs. Melendez, a quick mound visit with his pitcher, Sam Simmons. And Dylan, during this break in the action, how about we send it over to the sideline here, where you and I sit patiently with our cookies that we talked about last inning. Got them from Gracie Chavez, our social media intern, and let's try them.
Okay.
You go first. I guess I'll go with you.
That's a strong cookie. That's a lot of chocolate.
Double chocolate.
A lot of chocolate.
Mm-hmm.
Got some on my face. It tastes really good.
What would you give it?
I give it low 7s, high 6s, like a 6.9, 7.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a big chocolate connoisseur, so I think I'll ballpark it right around where you're at. It's a lot of chocolate. Maybe too much. We're going to give it a 6.5.
Okay.
It's a good cookie.
That's
we'll go
fair.
back to the field. You've seen enough of us. Apologies for not only seeing our faces, but also for hearing the chewing. We'll eat the rest of the cookie in between the innings. Jack Penny at the plate. It's been a bittersweet result today, to continue to piggyback off the chocolate puns. Penny chops one towards second, and it's in and out of a glove. Jack Penny reaches. These bases are loaded after Brennan Holt's unable to make the play at second base.
This game is crazy. We're going back and forth. This inning it's hits, last inning it's walks. Both offenses are having themselves a day. Firebirds have a chance to get themselves right back in this one. It's just hard to say because they were down 10 going into this inning.
Could one big swing and Matt Hallback do the trick? Takes that breaking ball for a strike 0-1. We've said it a few times, and we'll say it one more time. Firebirds have not hit a grand slam this summer. And my gosh, would now be the perfect time. 0-2.
2 big curveballs from Simmons. That's his go-to pitch. Firebirds need that big hit. They need a hit to drive in 2 or more.
The 0-2 pitch is skied deep into center field, the deepest part of the ballpark. It's caught by Zach McDonald. Joe Oyama, who's got speed for days, tags up and scores. The summer ball teammates each of the last 2 summers help each other out there. Matt Hallback, Joe Oyama. The deficit cut to 7 runs.
And 2 still on for the Firebirds. Good job by Hallback. He gets the ball in the air and gets the run across. Birds still need that double, that hit into the gap that lets the runners go.
Eddie Micheletti, top 10 in the league in doubles on the year. So far tonight, grounded into a fielder's choice in the first, fouled out to third in the fourth, reached on another fielder's choice, an RBI fielder's choice last inning. The runners move up. Jada Melendez lose track of a ball behind the dish. Jay Casey moves to third, Jack Penny to second. Now, as you mentioned, a big swing from Micheletti, even a base hit, could score 2 runs, make it a 5-run game. And that's exactly the hit he gets. Casey scores, Penny's held up. It's an RBI single for Eddie Micheletti. A 6-run game. Back-to-back runs scored from Orleans. The sac fly from Hallback, the ribby single from Micheletti.
And 3 runs batted in last night for Micheletti, 1 tonight. We go back and forth here from Eldredge. Orleans 1 swing away from making this a 3-run game.
Micheletti drove in the run with the fielder's choice last inning. Drives in 1 more with a single this time around. He's been so big in the middle of this order all summer long. Giving this Birds offense some life in a game that could decide the number 1 seed in the East Division. Eddie King Jr. pops one the other way, and it's gonna be caught in right field. The throw in, not in time. What a catch in right field from Tyler Wolfert. The run scores, nevertheless. It's another sac fly. Scoring is Jack Penny.
It's a frustrating result because that could have got down and kept the inning going. Does drive a run in, but you'd love if that got down, but what a great catch by Wolfert.
Second out of the inning. Micheletti still on first as Brandon Stallman fouls away the first pitch he sees. Sam Simmons, the Panola College product, in his second inning of work. He's now allowed 5 earned runs to score off 5 hits and a walk. And he's only recorded 3 outs. 2 outs this inning, and the last out of the prior inning, coming in relief of Liam Paddock, who also struggled, allowing 3 earned runs to score while only getting 2 outs. That curveball in for strike 2 looking. Stallman goes behind 1-2. We have played an unbelievable baseball game here tonight. 6 runs scored from Chatham in the top of the inning. Orleans scored 3 runs last inning. The 1-2 blocked up initially by Melendez. He races to his left and keeps Micheletti at first. He does not want to record the 3rd out of the inning. 2-2.
No, not at all. And Simmons, who's a fastball and curveball pitcher, looking to get Stallman to chase there. Stallman with a good eye, laid off.
What was a 10-run game headed into this inning. Now only a 5-run game. The 2-2, a check swing and a foul ball that clanks off the top of Chatham's dugout.
If you're looking for clean baseball, this is not where you want to come to, because Firebirds have allowed 9 free passes. Chatham has allowed 8.
And that's why in this game, these two teams have scored 21 combined runs on only 15 hits. The 2-2. Breaking ball. Foul tip, strike 3. The inning ends, but for the 2nd frame in a row from Orleans, the Firebirds won't go away. 5-run game after 6. We go to the top of the 7th on the Birds Broadcast Network.
At Del Mar Vacations, we believe that every moment spent on Cape Cod is a memory waiting to happen. Book a stay with us. And when you're here, why not enjoy the excitement of a Cape Cod Baseball League game? Del Mar Vacations proudly partners with the Cape Cod Baseball League, where you can watch the future stars of tomorrow play today. Whether you're seeking a family getaway or an adventure-filled escape, Del Mar Vacations has the perfect home for you. Book your dream vacation today and discover the beauty of Cape Cod. Del Mar Vacations and the Cape Cod Baseball League, your ticket to an extraordinary getaway.
Welcome back to the Birds Broadcast Network. One thing about this team is that no matter how many runs are down, they are never going to throw in the towel and they are never going to give up. And that was evident with the 5 runs they just scored in that 6th inning. The energy right now is fantastic in the dugout, and they know that they are here for a reason. It isn't a fluke that they are trying to get that #1 spot in the East, and that's because they've put in the work all season long, and they're a type of team that trusts the process. What summer ball is all about, and it's picking off right now, but it's not done. They know the next few innings they have a lot of work to get done, but the energy right now is fantastic. Guys, back to you.
Sammy, that's a mindset you've got to have if you want the #1 seed in the East Division. Ian Nicholas, Dylan Pescatore on the call alongside Sammy here on the Birds Broadcast Network. Dylan, it's been a weird game.
It really has been. Errors, walks, a few hits sprinkled in there. This is not a video or a game you would send to a pitching coach.
No. Jim Waller is going to want to flush this one down the toilet.
To say the least.
The pitching coach of the Orleans Firebirds. Colton Sundloff back on the mound for another inning of work. He faces the top of the order for Chatham, which starts with Brennan Holt. Holt pops up the first pitch to shallow left field. Caught by Brandon Stallman, who was initially playing in the grass. Backtracked. 1 out on 1 pitch for Colton Sundloff. He needed that after a shaky outing out of a bullpen last inning where he inherited a tough situation.
Yeah, he did. So now he gets the first out here in the 7th. That's big. Also, Stallman didn't see that ball very well. Every fly ball now here for the rest of the game will not be an easy out.
Here's Tyler Wolfert. Speaking of fly balls, he made an unbelievable catch. Eddie King Jr. in the top of the inning, or rather in the bottom of the 6th, popped the pitch the other way to right field, shallow right, and Wolfert dove and made a great play. Another run scored for Orleans. It was a sac fly, but it could have been more. Now trying to translate that success to the dish. He takes the ball 2-0. Wolfert's driven in 2 runs tonight. 1 on a single in the 3rd, in which Chatham scored 7 runs in the frame, and also drove in a run with a walk last inning. Pitch on the inner half, it misses. 3 balls, no strikes for Sundloff. Trying to avoid walking another batter. Handed a walk in 1 1/3. Orleans, it's been unfortunately walk city tonight. Fastball for a strike. 3-1. And that's not the MO of Orleans. A pitching staff with the 2nd lowest ERA on the year headed into tonight's game, but has handed out a few walks too many to the Anglers. 3-1, low and in, ball 4. There's another one. A 5-pitch, 1-out walk for Tyler Wolfert. 2nd walk in a row for the right fielder.
And this stuff just can't happen. I mean, if you want to come back into a game, the offense has done everything they can. I mean, 8 runs, and you're expecting to win almost every time you put up 8. But now with the pitching staff, so many free passes, you have to find a way to put the ball in the strike zone and give your team a chance, at least make your defense work.
Caden Kent at the plate. What a summer he's had here in Chatham. Drove in 2 runs with a double last half inning. 3 RBIs on the night. Also had a bases-loaded walk in the 3rd. He's played 42 out of 44 possible games for the A's, tied with Jack Penny for the 2nd most games played in the league. Dylan, the only player to play all 44?
The only player to play all 44 for the Firebirds.
Not for anybody in the Firebirds across the league. There's only one.
Derek Bender. No, he didn't play against us. Give me the team.
I'm checking the matchup right now. It's either Hyannis or Bourne. Jack Penny, what a catch. A line out to short off the bat of Caden Kent. That Penny corrals. So Penny's played 42 games. Kent's played 42 games. 1 player on either Hyannis or Bourne, not going to make it too easy for you, has played in all 44.
I got it. Cam Smith.
You got it. Smith did play tonight, too.
And he's been a beast in all 44.
He has. A balk from Colton Sundloff. moves a runner over from first to second in Wolfert. Ahead of the at-bat for Trace Wilhoit. You don't see that very often. After the line out from Kent. A low miss, 1-0. Sundloff trying to keep this a 5-run game after the Firebirds scored 5 runs of their own in the bottom of the 6th to keep things somewhat manageable. The 1-0 misses low. Orleans needs to win to get number 1 in the East Division. That is, if YD can finish off a 10-2 lead in the bottom of the 8th on the road against Wareham. With 2-0. Chopped on the ground foul.
And we spoke about how great this Chatham offense has been over the past few games. But with how the Firebirds are pitching right now, they seem to be a little bit scared of a Chatham lineup that, you know, is to write home about in the last 5, but over the course of the season has not been. They got to throw the ball in the zone. They can't be continuously walking any team.
2-1 pitch is waved at and missed 2-2. We brought up the stat before. It's a Chatham offense that's had some juice since the second leg of that doubleheader on Friday against Orleans, which was a 5-4 win for the A's, averaging just over 7 runs per game in the last 5 days. For 13 runs tonight for the A's, a season high. That does not go up. Swing and a miss. Sundloff gets the strikeout of Trace Wilhoit, leaves Tyler Wolfert stranded in scoring position. Orleans has scored all 8 of its runs in the last 2 innings. Do they have a little bit more in the tank in the bottom of the 7th? We'll stretch and find out on the other side on the Birds Broadcast Network. Sam Simmons out of a ball game. Panola College man pitched 1 1/3 and gave up 5 earned runs off 5 hits and a walk. He's replaced by Ryan Verdugo, the right-handed arm from Cal State Bakersfield, making his 5th appearance on the summer for Chatham. The righty faces the heart of the order for Orleans. It starts with Owen Carpellotti.
And this Orleans offense has done everything they could. 3 runs in the 5th, 5 runs in the 6th.
Carpellotti evens the count 1-1. In the 5th inning, they scored 3 runs off 5 walks and no hits. Last inning, scoring 5 runs and getting a lot of hits off Sam Simmons. Carpellotti goes behind 1 and 2. Simmons, the California native, working quickly.
Yeah, Verdugo, the new pitcher, the right-hander, has been really good this season, pitching to a 3.68 ERA.
And he gets another whiff. The 9th strikeout on the summer for Verdugo in just under 8 innings on the mound.
Only strikeout number 3 for the Chatham pitching staff. Orleans has been putting the ball in play. I've been having a lot of chances. I mean, a few runners left on in the early innings. 7, or check that 8 after last inning. Haven't been able to come through earlier in the game. Now they're starting to put runs up on the board.
Somebody who put some runs up on the board last inning, Colin Tuft. He got the rally going. 2-run home run, which scored both him and Carpellotti after he was hit by a pitch from Simmons over the left field wall. But then his team responded with 3 more hits in a row, which led to a sac fly for Matt Hallback, an RBI single for Eddie Micheletti, another sac fly for Eddie King, and the inning ended. The 1-1. Curveball for a strike, 1 and 2. Verdugo began his summer strong. In his first 2 outings and just under 3 innings pitched, it didn't give up an earned run. He's given up 3 earned in his last 2 outings and just under 5 innings on the mound. Tuft holds up and takes ball 2. All said and told, headed into the night, Verdugo a 3.7 ERA across 4 appearances. Line drive to second base, bobbled by Holt. His throw to first in time. Second out of the inning. Chatham trying to avoid 3 straight innings in which Orleans has scored a run. Trying to keep that 5-run lead.
And the bottom 2 in the order don't do much for Orleans after doing a lot in the 6th. They hit by pitch by Carp, and then a home run by Tuft. Now back to the top.
Joe Oyama, who's reached base 3 times tonight, an on-base machine, in the top 5 in the league in on-base percentage, slugging percentage. Line drive in the right center field gap. He reaches base for a 4th time. Sliding in the second, he's safe as the throw is cut off in the outfield. Oyama's going to do everything in his power, just like he has all summer long, to make things interesting for a very interesting Firebirds crew.
Does it again. Put it in the right center field gap and watch him run. 3 straight at-bats that he's gotten on base. In Oyama, he scored each time.
Walked in the 5th, singled in both the 6th and now here in the 7th. Jake Casey, he singled last inning. His second at-bat after pinch hitting for Fenwick Trimble. Takes the first pitch for a strike. The fastball misses outside. Checking in on that game from Spillane Field. YD still leads Wareham 10-2 in the bottom of the 8th. If YD wins and Orleans loses, the Red Sox own the 1 seed of the East Division playoff. The 1-0 foul the other way, 1-1. If Orleans can win this game, regardless of what happens in the YD Wareham game, the Firebirds will have the number 1 seed. But a lot of ground still to cover. Birds trailed by 10 runs last inning. Sliced that deficit in half. Looking to do a little bit more. The 1-1 from Verdugo. Breaking ball in for strike 2 looking. Casey had a big moment in the last game here from Eldredge. A 2-1 walk-off win of the Mariners 2 nights ago. The game-winning single in the 9th. The 1-2 fouled away to left again. Hasn't been an easy summer for him, Dylan, but his attitude's always been in the right state.
Always positive, always looking toward the next game. Always looking toward his next moment.
Hit .250 with double-digit home runs in the spring for Kent State. Swings and misses at the 1-2. First strike 3. Second strikeout of the inning. The high fastball gets Casey against Ryan Verdugo and leaves Joe Oyama stranded in scoring position. Firebirds score 8 runs combined in the 5th and the 6th. Held off the board in the 7th. It stays a 5-run deficit as we go to the top of the 8th on the Birds Broadcast Network. 7 innings down, 2 to go. Still a good crowd here from Eldredge Park. How could I tell? The 50-50 raffle tonight, worth over $1,400. Unfortunately, neither myself nor my new broadcast partner, Brendan Nordstrom, our writer, here for the Firebirds, bought a ticket. A great crowd, unfortunately not a great result so far.
Yeah, it's been a long game, but, you know, it's great that the Firebirds have been able to show some fight. I think getting that momentum heading into the playoffs on Friday is huge for this team and not laying down.
100%. Trail by 10 runs going into the bottom of the 6th. Cut that deficit in half to 5. Trying to keep it a 5-run deficit in the top of the 8th with a new pitcher on the mound, Cole Glassburn. His curveball misses low, and the check swing held up by the 5th man in the order tonight from the University of Hawaii, Kyson Donahue. Donahue drove in a run with a hit by pitch and also singled.
Yeah, another thing that's cool about this game is it almost serves as a tryout for a lot of these relievers.
Ground ball induced by the new reliever Glassburn. Jack Penny's throw to first with just enough time to spare.
I know, I mentioned earlier in the broadcast, a lot of these relievers haven't had many outings, and some are even debuting today. So I think it's a great opportunity. You know, if the game, it's still a competitive game. 5 runs isn't impossible. But if anything, it serves as a way for the coaches and these players to prove themselves come playoff time and prove that they can handle themselves in these situations.
Debuts from Rodriguez and Catlett tonight. Unfortunately, both of them struggled in their debuts here in the Cape Cod Baseball League, but getting the opportunity to get their feet wet ahead of the playoffs, which start Friday. Lane Forsythe, a third baseman, the second man up. Another curveball in for a strike from Glassburn. Glassburn, one of those guys who has recently joined the team, looking to audition for Kelly Nicholson one more time here in the regular season in game number 44. His 0-2 misses in the dirt, blocked up by Carpellotti. Glassburn last pitched on Friday at Chatham, was handed the loss, only got 1 out, gave up 2 earned runs off 2 hits with a walk. But did throw a scoreless frame in his debut with the team against Yarmouth Dennis on the 23rd of July, giving up 2 hits, but allowing no runs to score. Fastball just misses low of his own. Taking ball 2 is Forsythe.
Another pitcher who's not debuting necessarily and isn't really new, but I was impressed by Sam Leboki. Had really good 2 innings of work.
Pot the other way, line out, into the glove of the first baseman, Matt Hallback. An impressive start to Glassburn's outing, and Leboki did really good work. He started the year in the bullpen, moved into a starting role, but for the playoffs, when called upon, will most likely come out of a bullpen again.
A little bit of an up-and-down season, but it's good that he was able to prove himself here at the end of the regular season.
Glassburn trying to go 1-2-3. He faces the catcher, Jada Melendez, who struck out 2 times in a row. Both times he's went down looking. The 1-0 pitch, in for a strike, 1-1. Glassburn, well-traveled throughout his collegiate career, transferring to Kaiser University for his senior year, but started at Catholic University. He is a native of the DMV area and also spent time at Worcester State here in Massachusetts. His first summer here on the Cape. His 2-1 pitch. Curveball misses low and in, 3-1. Now it's the final game of the regular season here, Brendan, from Eldredge Park. Do you have a favorite memory here from Eldredge so far this season?
Whew, that's tough. There's so many. I think one game that always replays in my head is the Johnny Olmstead walk-off off the mound.
Ball 4, a low miss, and a 2-out walk.
This team has had a lot of fireworks, a lot of walk-offs, a lot of exciting moments, but I think the first one is the one that always stuck with me.
Johnny Olmstead, congratulations to him. Drafted to the Miami Marlins earlier this month, and rather last month. Still can't believe it's August already. Back all the way on July 2nd. Exactly a month ago today was the Johnny Olmstead walk-off.
Oh, wow.
Good timing. Zach McDonald takes the first pitch strike. 0-1.
It's crazy. It's already the last game of the regular season.
You know, I think it was Jay Casey who said to me at one point, the days are long, but the weeks are short. And this is a group that's really gelled together so well. McDonald sends a high fly in a shallow right field. It's caught by Jay Casey. A short inning. A long day for Orleans. We go to the bottom of the 8th. The Firebirds trying to cut into a 5-run deficit. Brendan, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
We'll be right back on the Birds Broadcast Network. Back on the Birds Broadcast Network in the bottom of the 8th. Orleans, 2 more innings, trying to cut into a 5-run deficit in the final game of the regular season. Jack Penny, the All-Star, leads off and lines out straight into the glove of Brennan Holt at second. Unlucky on a well-hit baseball from Penny to start the bottom of the 8th.
To say the least, sometimes it's not your night. And right now, for the Firebirds, it's not their night. Everything's been going against them. It's headlined by the walks. The walks have just really hurt the Firebirds tonight from the pitching side.
The pitcher in for his second inning on the mound is Ryan Verdugo. 17 pitches for him, throwing plenty of strikes, 12. Matt Hallback cranks one the other way, and it gets by Holt for a hit. 9th hit of the game for Orleans. They have now out-hit Chatham, but still trail by 5. Hallback continues to put his stamp on this game. He's reached 4 out of 5 times, and the only time he didn't reach, he had a sac fly.
Interesting night. 5 at-bats. Like you said, the sac fly, 2 walks, 2 hits. 2 for 2, 2 walks, and a sac fly for Hallback. I mean, being productive yet again.
Off the heels of arguably his best game of the year, a 4-hit performance in the road win against YD yesterday. Eddie Micheletti takes the ball, 1-0. Speaking of YD, let's check in on how the Red Sox are doing on the road against the Gatemen. It's the bottom of the 9th inning. YD is very close to a win. 10-3, the Red Sox lead the Gatemen.
Only the Huss bus could help us out.
Grant Hussey is very good. The first baseman from West Virginia not that good to single-handedly eliminate a 7-run deficit.
I was told some T-shirts were made about Grant Hussey.
And
how he's rolling through Spillane.
Pop-up foul on the fastball. Into the street that borders Eldredge Park. You'd be correct. The 2 broadcasters for the Wareham Gatemen, good buddies of ours, Aiden Blank and Jack Hunter, made custom T-shirts for Grant Hussey. And his nickname that Aiden coined for him, the Huss Bus.
Mm-hmm. Now, looking at their record and how they don't have any more games after today, Maybe the bus should have made a few more stops over at Spillane.
I won't comment there.
I mean, Wareham, the West team to not make the playoffs this year.
Well, that's how it works in the Cape Cod Baseball League. 10 teams, 8 of them make the playoffs. Unfortunately, Wareham misses the postseason for the second year in a row. A 5-pitch, 1-out walk for Eddie Micheletti. A good night for him as well. Drove in a run with a fielder's choice in the 5th. Drove in a run with a single in the 6th. And walks here in the 8th. 2 base runners on, 1 out for Eddie King Jr.
Firebirds are set up once again. Another inning where they have a runner on base, at least 1, now 2. Goes back to that Jack Penny lineout. If that got through, could you imagine? They need the big hit. Caden Kent delivered the big hit for Chatham earlier in this game, a 2-run double down the line. Firebirds need one of those big hits.
That 2-run double from Kent in the 7th inning made it 12-3 A's, and then Trace Wilhoit added a sac fly to make it 13-3. Ever since, though, Orleans has outscored the A's 5-0. All 5 of those runs came across the board in the bottom of the 6th. 2 innings later, the Birds making noise again. First pitch to King Jr. Gets out of a glove of Melendez, but staying at first and second are the base runners. It is final from Spillane Field. The YD Red Sox, in the final game of the regular season, take down the Wareham Gatemen 10-3. That gives YD 50 points. Orleans has 49. A win would give Orleans the East Division title with 51 points. A tie, the tiebreaker goes to YD. The 0-1. Breaking ball in for strike 2 looking. Verdugo, a big-time pitch. Eddie King, quietly a very solid night as well. 2 straight walks in the 4th and 5th innings. And then a sac fly in the 6th. Should have been a hit, but Tyler Wolfert with a spectacular piece of fielding and right. The 0-2. Fastball misses low and away, ball 1.
Firebirds dug out. The Firebirds faithful have been waiting. When is the big swing going to come? They need one to try to get back into this game.
Hallback on first. Micheletti Jr., or rather, Hallback on second. Micheletti Jr. on first. King Jr. takes the ball and evens the count. It's a Firebirds faithful that has thinned out a little bit over the course of the night, but early on in this game, upwards of 3,000, close to 3,500 in attendance for the regular season finale. Strike 3. Eddie King Jr. handed a backwards K. The fastball in for a strike from Verdugo. His 3rd strikeout in his 2nd inning of work.
Good pitch by Verdugo to fire the fastball in there for a strike. He was messing around with the slider as well as the 2-seamer and the curveball. But Verdugo goes right back to the bread and butter for strike 3.
Brandon Stallman, lefty on righty, swings at the first pitch, pops it towards 3rd. Forsythe steps on the bag, forces out Hallback, and ends the inning. Firebirds made some more noise, but leave 2 base runners stranded. Still down 5. We go to the top of the 9th, where the Birds have their backs against the wall in the final game of the regular season. We'll be right back on the Birds Broadcast Network.
What Cape home design will you dream up? For over 16 years, Cape Dreams Building and Design has specialized in building custom homes for clients across Cape Cod. Our core values of honesty, integrity, and quality work are what separates us from other Cape builders and help us make your dreams of your next new home a reality. From new construction to additions and renovations, contact Cape Dreams today or visit our website at capedreamsbd.com.
It's the top of the ninth on the Birds Broadcast Network, and if you're still watching, you want to know how this game shakes up for one reason. The Firebirds lose. Yarmouth Dennis is the 1 seed in the East. If the Firebirds can stage a comeback, the Birds own that spot atop the division. The 8th different pitcher on the mound for the Firebirds, it's Chase Hungate. He faces 9-1-2 in the Chatham order. It starts with the shortstop who began his collegiate career at Florida and is transferring to Auburn this next season, Derek Fabian. Fabian, a good night, 2 hits, an RBI, and a walk. Swing and a miss, 0-2. Cole Glassburn pitched last inning, a 1-2-3 frame which included a walk. So 1-2-3-4, some would say. But now it's Chase Hungate's turn, the rising junior from Virginia. The 0-2 is launched deep to left, backing up, leaping, it's gone. Colin Tuft leaped into the Chatham bullpen, but couldn't catch the line drive home run off the bat of Derek Fabian. The Anglers extend the lead to 6 in the top of the ninth. With the home run, their first of the night.
This has been a game that has seen 22 runs and 2 home runs. And none of them were 3-run home runs or grand slams. A 2-run shot by Colin Tuft, and then the solo shot by Derek Fabian.
Tuft with the home run a few innings ago in the bottom of the 6th. An inning in which Orleans scored 5 runs to make it 13-8. Birds held off the board ever since, and the next score coming right here with that solo shot to Fabian. Grounded by the top man in the order, Brennan Holt to first. Hallback flips to Hungate, who gets the force for the first out of the inning. That's also not the first time we've seen Colin Tuft leap over a wall this summer. He is some kind of athlete. In a game against Hyannis late in the month of July, trying to rob a home run in center field, he flipped over the wall entirely. That time around, a bit cleaner. He just leaped over the wall.
He leaped?
An elite leap. Here's Tyler Wolfert. Chopper to the left side of the infield, gloved by Penny. A strong throw to first. There's out number 2. So as we told you last half inning, YD took down Wareham 10-3 from Spillane Field. So the Red Sox at the moment have 50 points in the standings. Orleans has 49. Orleans with a win would take first place in the East, have the East Division crown, have home field advantage through the playoffs in the East Division. With a loss or a tie, it would be YD's home field. Caden Kent, most likely his final at bat of the summer, takes the ball 1-0. Caden Kent, got to give him a lot of credit. He's been here since the jump, and he's played in all but 2 games for Chatham. Takes the ball in the inside corner, 2-0. Another good night at the box office for the Texas A&M Aggie, driving in 3 runs. 1 in the 3rd, 2 more with a double in the 7th. One of 3 Chatham A's All-Stars. And another difficult season for Chatham. The 3rd straight season in which the Anglers have missed the postseason. But Ken, who didn't see a ton of playing time during his latest season at Texas A&M, came into this summer excited for the opportunity to improve, and he certainly has done that. Ground ball to first. A 1-2-3 inning outside of a home run to start it from Derek Fabian. A line drive solo shot over the left field wall. Then Chase Hungate goes 1-2-3 against the top of the A's order. The regular season finale, it does not look pretty. We go to the bottom of the 9th with Orleans down 6 runs. The Birds need 6 to bring it to extras, 7 to walk it off, and try to keep their hopes at the East Division crown alive. Tune in to see if Orleans has some magic left in them in the bottom of the 9th.
This is your world, your job, your crew, your CAT compact equipment. And this is the support from your local CAT dealer. This is helping you meet your deadlines, your bottom line, your offers, your savings. This is getting you your parts and everything you need on time, easier than ever.
We're back on the Birds Broadcast Network in the bottom of the ninth. A tall task for Orleans. Trailing by 6 runs, and with a loss, would finish second in the East Division. If the Firebirds can pull off what would be a historic comeback, they would be the #1 seed in the East Division after YD's 10-3 win tonight at Wareham. 14-8 to score. Ryan Verdugo, the pitcher on the mound, trying to complete his 3rd inning of work on the bump. He faces 8-9-1. It starts with the guy you see in the middle of your screen, Georgetown's Owen Carpellotti. He's reached once tonight. It was on a hit by pitch. He scored just moments later after Colin Tuff's 2-run home run. Outside of that, he's fouled out, grounded out, and struck out. Line drive off the mound towards second. Losing it is Holt, and he cannot make a play at first. Owen Carpellotti catches a break. A hard hit ground ball turns into an infield single. 10th hit of the night for the Birds.
Good start here in the ninth. Maybe a rally starting for the Firebirds. Carpellotti reaches. Last time that happened, the next batter, Colin Tuft, went deep, went yard.
And that he did. A 2-run home run for the former UVA Who, transferring to the Tulane Green Wave for his junior season. He had his 2nd home run of his summer in the 6th inning. First pitch inside. Tuft turns away from the mound for ball 1.
Yeah, and even if the Firebirds do drop this game, you have to feel really good about the offense putting up 8 runs and could be more after this inning. Showing fight, even though the pitching hasn't been great for the Firebirds tonight. The offense has shown up. I mean, if you score 8 runs, you expect to win every single time.
And the Firebirds have scored a lot of runs over these last 7 games. 6 of them wins, and 5 of them, the Birds have scored at least 10 runs. And the pitching staff is usually reliable. The 2nd lowest ERA in the league going into the final night of a regular season, which is tonight. Now, if we want to play the is this even humanly possible game,
Go on.
The answer is yes. There has been one comeback this season in the Cape Cod Baseball League in which a team scored 6 runs in the bottom of the 9th inning. Colin Tuft, a 2-2 count with Carpellotti on first and nobody out. The Harbor Hawks defeated the Kettleers with 6 runs scored in the bottom of the 9th, and then won an extra 7-6. The 2-2 is fouled away.
Wouldn't that be interesting? Birds come back, find a way, put a few runs across the board.
That was the biggest comeback in Cape Cod Baseball League history, at least in the point streak era, which is how they keep track of stats. The 2-2. Another foul ball. Colin Tuft is not quitting on this game. The Kettleers, all the way back on June 22nd, led 6-0 going into the bottom of the 9th from McKeon Park. Harbor Hawks scored 6 in the bottom of the 9th to tie it at 6, and then score the game-winning run in the bottom of the 10th to walk off the Cats. 2-2. Upstairs, and a good check swing from Tuft to work the count full.
Gonna find a way to get on base here. Pass the baton, that's the phrase.
It's been the phrase of 18th year manager Kelly Nicholson all summer long. The payoff, misses low, baton passed. Well, actually, baton flipped by Colin Tuft. The Firebirds bat boy retrieves it. Back-to-back base runners in the bottom of the 9th. And a good man to come up to the plate in Joe Oyama. He's reached 4 times tonight. The last 2 times up with singles.
Another walk here. That's Chatham's 10th walk of the night for their pitching staff.
Ryan Verdugo stays on the mound. A long leash handed out by interim manager Todd Shelton with a bullpen that's light on arms. Final game of the year for Chatham. Eliminated in playoff contention late last week. Oyama pops a pitch high in the air to left. At the wall, it's caught. Caden Kent, some all-star on all-star crime for the first out of the inning.
And wouldn't that make things interesting if that got out of the ballpark? So close for Oyama. This offense continuously taking each and every at-bat, no matter what the score is, and making it count.
Verdugo's thrown 41 pitches, 2 1/3 innings on the mound. Caden Kent, a good play in left field. That would have sliced the deficit in half if it got over the wall. Jay Casey is third at bat. He takes a ball. Singled in the 6th, struck out in the 7th. Fenwick Trimble started this game in right field. Carpellotti on second. Tuft on first. The 1-0. On the ground towards second. Holt flips to second for one. To throw to first. Gets away. And coming home the score is Owen Carpellotti. Tuft was forced out, but a run does score. Jay Casey reaches first after the errant throw from Derek Fabian. Birds trail by 5, down to their final out.
I think Tuft thought that shortstop Fabian didn't touch second base. He came off the bag when he caught the ball.
Well, you're currently looking at the replay on the YouTube live stream. By the way, we'd really appreciate a like and subscription. All of the Orleans Firebirds playoff games, which start on Friday, will be right here on the Birds Broadcast Network. Jack Penny up to bat, with the runner on first being Casey, who reaches on the fielder's choice. Chatham charged an error, an E6 on Fabian, for the wild throw to trace Will Hoyt at first, which allowed Owen Carpellotti to score and make it a 5-run game. Penny takes a strike, the fastball from Verdugo, and the count even. Dylan, you've looked at it a few times. What do you think?
Fair call, correct call.
Colin Tuft forced out at second, nearly a double play, but Casey beat it out at first. And now he takes off for second. The hit and run for Orleans. Jack Penny, a high fly to left, and it gets over the wall. Things getting interesting with a 2-run shot for Jack Penny. Orleans still down 3 with 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th.
This team never quits. No matter the score, they take every single at-bat so seriously. 11 runs for this Orleans offense. Might even mean a pitching change for Chatham.
Orleans trailed 13-3 going into the bottom of the 6th. Ever since, the Firebirds have outscored the Anglers 8-1. But they need 3 more runs, and they're going to have to do it against a new pitcher. Ryan Verdugo done after 2 2/3 innings on the mound. Todd Shelton makes one more call to the bullpen. You'll find out how the new arm is when we come right back on the Birds Broadcast Network.
At Curry, we'll meet you where you are and help you discover who you want to become.
Ryan Verdugo pulled with 1 out to go in the bottom of the 9th. A 2-run home run from Jack Penny ends Verdugo's night. The bases are empty for Orleans. Matt Hall back at the plate. He's had a great night. 4 for 4 with a sac fly, trying to make it 5 for 5. He sends one deep in the gap, and it gets by a diving Zach McDonald for a hit. A double. Hold your horses. This game's getting weirder and weirder.
What a swing by Hallback. First pitch swinging, first pitch crushing into right center field. Tying run on deck.
Eddie Micheletti trying to give Eddie King Jr. the opportunity. It's getting loud from Eldredge. By the way, we haven't even told you who the new pitcher is. It's Alec Rich, a two-way from Division III Middlebury College in Vermont. He's transferring to Cal Berkeley next year. He's a California native. The ball gets away from Melendez. It's ball 1 to Eddie Micheletti Jr., and Matt Hallback moves over to third. What a night for Matt Hallback. 3 for 3 with 2 walks and a sac fly. The Eddie Chance raining in from the crowd. Swing and a miss, 1-1. The kid who grew up coming to Firebirds games. At just 7 years old, his family rented out a house here in Orleans. The 1-1 popped up to shallow left field. 3 players looking for the ball, backpedaling and unable to make the catch is Fabian. Hallback scores, Micheletti reaches, the Firebirds are within 2. The tying run comes to the plate in Eddie King Jr. The Firebirds trailed by 10 runs in the bottom of a 6th. Derek Fabian was so close to ending this game, but the Firebirds won't quit. One and 0.
If there was ever a moment to send one out, Eddie King has been so clutch this summer for the Firebirds. He's probably been the hottest hitter for the last 2 weeks.
3 home runs on the summer. Pops this pitch foul and out of play. 1-1. Firebirds came into the inning down by 6 runs. They have scored 4 and have a tying run at the plate. Alec Rich, the 1-1. Breaking ball, swing and a miss. King Jr. goes behind 1-2. The Firebirds, after the win from YD on the road against Wareham, trail a point for the East Division crown. The 1-2. Outside, ball 2. The count even as Eddie King Jr. maybe gets a little bit lucky thanks to a call from Jim Fonseca behind the dish. Micheletti on first. Inside, ball 3. The go-ahead run on deck, a ball away from coming to the plate. Brandon Stallman. 14-12. Birds trail by 10 at one point in this game. Strike 3. And Eddie King Jr. can't believe it. The Chatham A's have played spoiler for the entirety of the week and eliminated from playoff contention. The Anglers do it one more time. The Firebirds, after the road win from Yarmouth Dennis against Wareham tonight, finish second in the East Division and will be back from Eldredge Park on Friday night for the first round of the playoffs to face the Harwich Mariners.
What a game. What a game. And yes, Orleans comes out on the losing side. Yes, the Firebirds don't clinch at number 1. They move into number 2 in the East Division. They'll face off with the Harwich Mariners in round 1. But you got to have a lot, and you see the standings right there. That is updated. Firebirds lost. This is the end of the season. YD wins the East. Orleans gets second. But Ian, there are a lot of positives to take out of this game. The offense did all they could to come back into this one because the pitching wasn't up to scruff. It didn't have their best stuff tonight. The walks were a problem, and the Firebirds were one swing away from tying this game at 14.
There's no words to really describe what's happened tonight in an ugly, sloppy baseball game that nearly got in the way of the Firebirds. The Birds were down 13-3, going into the bottom of a 6. Scored 5 runs there and scored 4 more. The math's still not good on my end. Here in the bottom of the 9th, but ultimately come up 2 runs shy. Very close. Give a lot of credit to Chatham. You know, it's a shame. The Anglers got hot at the wrong time. Eliminated from playoff contention. They finished with the same exact record as the team that's going to make the playoffs at 4th out of the East Division in the Brewster Whitecaps. But the Whitecaps won the head-to-head series. So Brewster in, Chatham out. This final week of the season for the Anglers, they have just found another gear. And although tonight it wasn't pretty, they did what they needed to do, and they took advantage of opportunities that Orleans gave them.
They did. And what are you going to say if you're the Firebirds? The pitching wasn't good enough. A lot of these arms you might not even see in the playoffs as well. So a lot of the top arms were rested for the Firebirds. You move on to Friday. The offense was great again today. Another game where they put on up 10-plus runs. That's now 6 of the last 8. They've scored 10-plus. And you move on. What can you do? The pitching wasn't good enough. Move on to Friday, which would be and is going to be a huge matchup against the Harwich Mariners.
That it will be. Mariners won the regular season series against Orleans, but dropped the final 2 games of that series. Orleans, oh so close to the number 1 seed in the East Division. Did what they needed to do on Monday against Harwich and a walk-off win here from Eldredge, and did what they needed to do last night on the road at Red Wilson Field, smoking the Red Sox by 7 runs. But YD held up their end of a bargain with a blowout win against Wareham on the road. Orleans, unfortunately, could not. 14-12, the final score. Chatham takes down Orleans, plays spoiler, eliminated from playoff contention. But the A's win 5 of their final 6 games to close out the 2023 season. Dylan, that playoff series is not going to be easy. It's a Harwich team that looks a lot different than the team that they had at the beginning of the season, just like a lot of teams here on the Cape. But why should the Firebirds, outside of having home field advantage, have the edge?
Well, I think that the game 2 home games ago, the Harwich Mariners came to Eldredge a few nights ago, and Orleans won on a walk-off 2-1 win. Now, I'll tell you why they have the advantage. Game 1, most likely Harwich will start Tim Chmielewski out of Princeton. And the Firebirds only faced him once. He's been really good against the rest of the league. The Firebirds put 7-8 runs on Chmielewski back in that game where the Firebirds almost no-hit the Harwich Mariners. That was with Ivan Romero on the bump. I think they should be confident because of how good the offense has been. You're going to have your top pitching on the mound. We'll see who is in the starting rotation for the Firebirds. When it comes to playoff time, Friday night, game 1, 6:30 here at Eldredge. It's best of 3. So Friday night at Eldredge, Saturday over at White House Field, and then Sunday, if necessary, back here at Eldredge for a game 3. No playoff series is easy, and now we have our full playoff series preview. We'll give you those before we leave as well, East and West. But game 1, Friday, you got to buckle up and be ready to go for the big games that really matter.
As you mentioned, Tom Chmielewski, we don't know if he's going to be the Friday night starter in game 1 for Harwich or not, but his worst outing of the summer did come against Orleans. Chmielewski started 6 games for Harwich, gave up 2 earned runs or less in all of them, except one where he gave up 3 earned in 3 innings in a 12-0 loss to Orleans on the 13th of July, gave up 6 runs total, and the only reason all 6 of those runs weren't earned is because he committed an error, and ultimately if you commit an error when you're on the mound and a run scores, that run becomes unearned. So we'll head down to the sideline here in just a few moments. Still getting the final scene from what was a packed house here from Eldredge. Orleans has home field advantage in the first round of the playoffs. YD is going to be facing Brewster, and they have home field advantage from Red Wilson Field. Orleans has home field advantage here in the East Division. 44 games down. Dylan, what is this Firebirds group at its core?
At its core, it's a team that never gives up. And I think this game, even though it was a loss, is evident of that because they never gave up. Like you were saying in the final call, they were down 10 runs in the 6th inning. They came back, and they were 1 swing away from tying the game at 14 with Eddie King up and Eddie Micheletti on first base. They never give up. The pitching, which has usually been really good, I would say this game, because Hyannis had a few position players in that game, was probably, and to be blunt, their worst pitching performance of the season. But the bats came to play. They put up 12 runs, and you should feel good about this team because when the arms come, and they will, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday on the mound, you know that the offense will be there as well.
At this point in the year, it doesn't really matter what you did in June or even what you did in the early part of July. It matters about who's the hottest right now. Firebirds have won 6 of the last 8 games. Tonight, an ugly blemish, but ultimately just a 2-run loss. Firebirds have looked like such a different team over these final 8 games. What do you think is the biggest thing that has changed?
The biggest thing that has changed has been the pitching. I think there have been a lot of arms that have come in and out of this Firebirds rotation, of this Firebirds bullpen. I mean, heck, tonight you saw 2 more new arms, Joel Rodriguez. And, of course, in Everett, I forgot his last name.
Georgetown.
Everett from Georgetown. See, we have a lot of players coming in and out. It was his first time here, and we're trying. All right, Everett from Georgetown. We'll say that. It's like Jake from State Farm, right? But Everett Catlett. See, took me a little bit. But Everett Catlett came in. He was, finding his footing on the mound as well. The Firebirds have a lot of change pitching-wise, and to be honest, I would not want to be Kelly Nicholson right now. He has to not only set up a playoff rotation, as well as, think about the rounds that could come after the Firebirds facing Harwich in round 1, but also try to figure out this bullpen. The Firebirds have added a lot of arms onto this roster, trying to pick out and, go match up lefty-righty in the bullpen in the playoffs will have a lot of stress on not only Kelly Nicholson, but Jim Lawler, the pitching coach, and Cole Cook, the bullpen coach.
We'll go back to the field here as we wrap up cooling down here on the Birds Broadcast Network. A wild game. Orleans, unfortunately, could not clinch the 1 seed, falls 2 runs short against Chatham, but pulls off an epic rally. In the final 4 innings, the Firebirds outscore the Anglers. Well, really, in the final 3.5 innings, they outscore them 9-1, but come up 2 runs short of bringing it to extras and 3 runs short of a win. Looking at the final scores from around the league tonight in the final day of a regular season, Harwich defeated Brewster 3-2 from Stony Brook. That did nothing for the playoff standings. Harwich locked in the 3, playing Orleans on Friday. Brewster will play YD in the second East Division playoff game. Bourne took down Hyannis 8-3, and then Falmouth took down Cotuit 7-3. In the West, you got Cotuit at 1, you got Hyannis at 2, you have Falmouth at 3, you have Bourne at 4. Dylan, I guess my last question to you here on Cooling Down, who do you like out of the West Division?
And that's such a difficult question because each team has seen their ups and downs this season. I mean, at the start of the season and into the middle of the season, it was all about Katuitt. They were taking it to everybody, and they couldn't lose. Then Hyannis really started to get hot. They gave Katuitt a run for their money at the end of the season. Falmouth, who has been the hottest team out of the West over the last week, they won again tonight against these Kettleers. And Bourne, you never can count them out because they're the defending champions. So it's really going to be a dogfight in the West for who's going to come out of it. If I had to make a pick today, I would not choose the number 1 seed Kettleers. I would actually choose the Falmouth Commodores.
Falmouth Commodores have arguably one of the best players in the league, one of the front runners for the MVP award, and Travis Pizzana from Oregon State. But so does Orleans with Joe Oyama from UC Irvine. And Oyama had a great night tonight with 2 hits, a walk, was hit by a pitch, and he nearly hit a 3-run home run at the top of the 9th that just died ahead of a left field wall. Anyways, that's all we've got for you on Cooling Down here on the Birds Broadcast Network. The regular season done. We'll be back on Friday for the first round of the playoffs. The Harwich Mariners come to town to play the Orleans Firebirds. First pitch at 6:30. We'll go live at 6:15 on the Scorching Start. And we'll finish cooling down as we always do by shouting out our post-game sponsor, Mazzio Construction. Mazzio Construction LLC works hard to build a resume for itself. Let them put their knowledge, experience, and passion together to work for you. Their team is committed to exceed your expectations. New home, addition to existing home, renovation, they handle it all. They work close with their clients to make sure that all the needs are met. They're honest, on time with schedule, and passionate about what they do. Give them a call. Let them introduce you to their work. Let's see how they can help you. Mazzio Construction LLC, the official post-game sponsor of the Firebirds. Want to thank our pregame sponsor as well in Siemens Bank. And, of course, everybody else involved with tonight's broadcast. Ian Nicholas, Dylan Pescatore, Sammy Miller, our producer Will Lundrigan, everybody from Pack Network signing off and saying thanks so much for joining us in the regular season. Now it's time for the postseason. We'll see you Friday.